Chapter 73. Of course, Guijia couldn't understand what Yichen was talking about. Even if Guijia was as smart as a demon, he couldn't figure out what Yichen was thinking. Looking at the confused Guijia, Yichen couldn't help but smile and said, Feng Xiao, don't worry. Feng Xiao, you don't have to think too much about it. This is my personal matter. As for the maids, you only need to find some clever and beautiful women. When Guijia heard this, he nodded and bowed. Yes, sir. My lord, I'll go find the deputy mayor now. Well, go ahead. Yichen smiled and said. Guijia bowed again and bid farewell. Then, he left to find Zhao Hong. Yichen let out a long breath and then turned to go to the mayor's mansion. The huge mayor's mansion was empty at the moment. With the setting sun, it looked a little lonely. However, there was no other way. Samsara town had just been upgraded and no furniture had been prepared. When Yichen came to the back of the mansion, he saw Zhao Yu sitting in a chair and holding her chin in a daze. At this moment, Zhao Yu also saw Yichen. Her eyes lit up and she stood up excitedly. But when she opened her mouth, she suddenly didn't know what to say. After holding back for a while, her face suddenly turned red. Then she suddenly asked, Have you eaten? It wasn't that Zhao Yu was unfamiliar with Yichen or was angry, so she didn't know what to say. Instead, in addition to being excited about Yichen's return, Zhao Yu was also nervous. How could she not be nervous? Yichen said before that Zhao Yu would be Yichen's first woman and would live here in the future. It would be strange if Zhao Yu wasn't shy and nervous. Looking at Zhao Yu, who was excited, nervous, and a little shy, Yichen couldn't help but smile. He then walked forward and hugged Zhao Yu in his arms. Not yet, but I want to... At this point, Yichen lowered his head and gently kissed Zhao Yu. Then he continued. Zhao Yu's entire body went limp in an instant. Then, she leaned weakly against Yichen. Yichen couldn't help but smile when he saw this. He then carried Zhao Yu and walked towards the bedroom. When the sun rose the next day, Yichen looked at the blushing Zhao Yu in his arms and could not help but smile. Then, he said softly, Don't go to the clinic today. Just rest at home. Zhao Yu's little face suddenly became even redder. She quickly pulled the quilt over her face and softly replied, Okay. Yichen curled the corner of his mouth and got up. At this time, Zhao Yu hurriedly lifted the quilt and said, Let me help my husband get dressed. Yichen was slightly stunned. Then, he smiled and raised his hand to scratch Zhao Yu's little nose. There's no need to be so particular. Even if you help me get dressed, it won't be today. Your task today is to have a good rest. This, Zhao Yu said with some hesitation. There's no need for this or that. This is an order. Yichen glared at Zhao Yu and said domineeringly. Okay. Zhao Yu was stunned and then sweetly replied. The maid should be here today. If you have any chores in the future, ask them to do it. Yichen smiled and said. Zhao Yu had just nodded when she suddenly thought of something. She hurriedly looked at Yichen and asked, My husband is leaving Samsara town? It wasn't that Zhao Yu wanted to interfere with Yichen. She wouldn't interfere and couldn't interfere. This wasn't something she should do, and she wouldn't do it. It was just that Zhao Yu had just become a married woman and was immediately left alone in an empty room. She couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. Well, I have some matters to attend to and have to leave for a few days. I'll be back in a few days. Yichen looked at Zhao Yu apologetically and then said, My husband, I'll wait for you to come back. After seeing Yichen's gaze, Zhao Yu couldn't help but feel warm in her heart. Then, she leaned into Yichen's arms and said softly, Rest well. I'll be back as soon as possible. After saying that, Yichen kissed Zhao Yu and then put on his robe. After putting it on, he left the bedroom. Yichen still had a lot of things to do and naturally wouldn't indulge in the land of tenderness. Of course, resting time was an exception. When he arrived at the front yard, Yichen had just opened the door when he was stunned. Dianwei, Guijia, and 1,000 fully armed Samsara Legion soldiers were standing outside the door in picturesque disorder. Swoosh! The sound of one knee on the ground rang out in an instant. Greetings, my lord. Dianwei and the Samsara Legion soldiers shouted in unison. Yichen suddenly smiled and then looked at Guijia, who was bowing at the side, and asked, Is everything ready? My lord, everything is ready. You can set off at any time. Guojia said with a smile. Yichen nodded and then looked at Dianwei and the thousand Samsara Legion soldiers and shouted, "Set off." Chapter 74. Yes, sir. Everyone shouted at the same time. Dianwei stood up and led 1,000 Samsara Legion soldiers toward the entrance of Reincarnation Town. Yichen looked at Guijia and said, "Feng Shao, I'll leave Reincarnation Town to you. I'll do my best until I die." Guijia said with a serious face and bowed. Yichen looked at Guijia and patted his shoulder. He didn't say anything else and walked toward the entrance. Yuzhou, Yangli County outskirts. A group of players was currently being chased by thousands of mountain bandits. Every one of them was dejected, and it was a miserable sight. Damn it, who said that this is a small bandit stronghold? F***CK. I don't know which bastard said that. I wanted to take advantage of the situation, but I didn't get any benefits. Instead, I got myself into trouble. F***CK. These bandits are too much. F***CK. They're still chasing us down the mountain. Aren't they afraid of attracting the soldiers of Yangli County? F***CK. You're counting on those soldiers? It's good enough that they don't run away. Bastard, think of something. F***CK. If we don't run away, we're going to lose levels today. F***CK. A bastard just killed the chief's concubine. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been chased all the way here. Mother ***. When I'm safe, I'll definitely find that bastard and kill that damn concubine. Not only did she drop some good stuff, she didn't even drop a single strand of hair. She even angered that stockade master. Just as these players were running and cursing, the sound of horse hooves came from afar. The sound came from afar. In a few seconds, a man on a white horse rushed out from a fork in the road blocked by trees. The man was wearing black armor. His long hair and cloak fluttered in the wind. His face was resolute and his eyes were cold. Just a second after the man appeared, a man riding a yellow warhorse followed closely behind. He had the back of a tiger and the waist of a bear. His figure was extremely tall and sturdy, and he carried 2 iron halberds on his back. However, his appearance could shock the world and make ghosts and gods weep. He was originally expressionless, but after seeing the players in front of him, a ferocious glint appeared in his eyes. Their appearance didn't attract much attention from the bandits and players. They only glanced at them. Those who needed to be hunted would continue to be hunted, and those who needed to flee would continue to flee. However, at this moment, the thunderous voice grew louder and louder. Rumble. This was the sound of countless warhorses galloping. Just as the bandits were stunned and the players were puzzled, a voice rang out. 1,000-man cavalry regiment, each man riding 3 horses, quickly appeared in front of everyone's eyes. F***CK. This was a cavalry. It was really cavalry. Since when did Yangli County have such awesome cavalry? F***CK. Am I seeing things? Those cavalrymen are all wearing radiant armor. F***CK. It's a silver-grade radiant armor. F***CK. Look, are those weapons in the hands of those cavalrymen some sort of steel spears? Hiss. Holy shit. That's really a steel spear, a silver-grade steel spear. Damn, are these cavalry really from Yangli County? Even the royal guards don't have such equipment, right? Who cares? Can't you see that those bandits are dumbfounded? Ha. F***CK. We can finally vent our anger. Yes, quick. Let's go over and tell those cavalrymen that those are bandits. Then they'll be dead. We'll be saved too. As soon as this person finished speaking, the players excitedly ran to the path that the cavalrymen had to pass through. They all shouted at the top of their lungs. Sir, there are bandits here. They're all bandits. There are bandits here. General, come and exterminate the bandits. There will be a lot of merit. General, the bandits are going to attack Yangli County. The players shouted all kinds of things, but their goal was the same. They wanted the cavalrymen to kill the bandits who were chasing after them, and then they would fish in troubled waters for benefits. In their eyes, the cavalrymen were NPCs, and NPCs were stupid. If they didn't take advantage of the situation, wouldn't they be stupid? If they were more observant, they would have realized that a typical cavalryman would have 3 cavalrymen at once, which cavalrymen didn't have banners. But this cavalryman had 3 cavalrymen at once, and they didn't have banners. Such a strange and obvious characteristic, but no one noticed it. "My lord." Dianwei looked fiercely at the players in the distance and shouted. Originally, when Dianwei saw the players, he wouldn't be filled with murderous intent. But last night, Guijia had told Dianwei about the source of danger in Yi Chen's trip to Luoyang. Dianwei, who was loyal, was instantly enraged when he heard the news. This was also the reason why Dianwei was filled with murderous intent when he saw the players. "Kill those who block the way," Yi Chen said coldly. Yi Chen knew what the players in front of him were planning after his rebirth. Yi Chen knew very well, but knowing was one thing. Yi Chen didn't have time to waste on them, and he wouldn't help them kill the bandits. "Yes," Dianwei replied in a deep voice. Then he turned his head and shouted, "Pass down the order! Kill those who block the way." Chapter 75. In the next second, the cavalrymen in the front row shouted in unison, "Those who block the road, kill! Pass the Lord's order! Those who block the road, kill! 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 Kill!" The 1,000 Samsara Legion shouted in unison, and their voices reached the ears of the players in the distance. "Damn! Did I hear wrongly? These cavalrymen are going to kill us? Damn! They're so domineering. Are you kidding me? They're the army of the great Han Empire. They're soldiers. F*CK. They don't think we're bandits, do they? Impossible. We already said that they're bandits. Why would they think that? They definitely don't think we're bandits. Didn't you hear what they said? Those who block the road, kill. Damn it, I don't believe it. I was bullied by bandits, and now I'm being bullied by soldiers? If they dare to kill me, I'll sue them. Yes. Damn it, these NPCs are really crazy. If it weren't for my low level, I would have killed a few of them. Damn it, I don't believe that these NPCs dare to kill players for no reason. Yes, we'll stand here and see if they dare to kill us." Rumble, the thunderous sound of horse hooves became louder and louder. Yi Chen, who was galloping on his horse, looked at the players who still refused to leave and frowned. Then his gaze turned cold. With a wave of his right hand, the Godslayer instantly appeared in his hand. He squeezed the horse's belly with his legs, and the warhorse neighed loudly. It instantly accelerated and rushed forward. Seeing this, Dianwei instantly pulled out 2 halberds from his back and shouted, "Kill!" Swoosh! The Samsara Legion raised their steel and spears in unison, and a murderous aura instantly surged. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The Samsara Legion shouted in unison and began their charge. Rumble! The war horses began to gallop, and the originally billowing smoke on the ground was instantly filled with dust. Damn it! They've started their charge. They're really going to kill us. A player was stunned and then shouted in shock. What's there to be afraid of? I don't believe that they dare to kill us. Don't forget, they're just NPCs. Moreover, we're not criminals. What's there to be afraid of? Yeah, what's there to be afraid of? If we're killed by NPCs, we'll go ask the county magistrate for compensation. I heard that someone got jealous of the county magistrate's son in a brothel and was killed by the county magistrate's son. Then, the county magistrate gave him a village creation token as compensation. Damn it, is this true? I thought it was fake. It's true. That idiot suddenly became rich because of this. He sold it for a total of 5 million. Then what's there to be afraid of? Let's just stand here. If they really dare to kill us, that'll be even better. We'll ask the county magistrate for compensation later. Yes, stand here. Damn it, we're going to be rich this time. The Samsara Legion, Samsara. This was the behavior that Yi Chen had seen in his previous life. They were willing to do anything for the sake of profit. In the beginner's area, the punishment for death was only a drop in level. Yi Chen looked at the increasing number of Samsara Legion players and couldn't help but sneer. Yi Chen knew what the Samsara Legion players were thinking. The so-called compensation wasn't something that everyone could receive. Every single one of the cavalry regiments had military orders and would not stop just because someone was blocking their way. If a player dared to block their way, they would definitely be killed and sent to jail. Moreover, Yi Chen was an NPC. The Samsara Legion players' wishful thinking was destined to fail. Rumble. The warhorses were galloping, and the Samsara Legion was charging. They sped up and sped up again, advancing courageously. After 10 minutes, Yichun arrived in front of the Samsara Legion players and stabbed the Godslayer with his right hand without hesitation. Puchi, a sound was heard. A Samsara Legion player blocking Yichun's warhorse was instantly pierced through. Then he was thrown into the air by Yichun and smashed into the Samsara Legion players. Bang! A Samsara Legion player was sent flying by the Samsara Legion's warhorse. Bang! Another Samsara Legion player was sent flying by the warhorse. Yichun's Godslayer also activated its assassination mode at this moment. Spear after spear, the Samsara Legion killed one player after another. Dianwei, who was beside Yichun, waved his two halberds and sent the Samsara Legion players flying. The Samsara Legion followed closely behind Yichun. Any Samsara Legion player who appeared in front of the Samsara Legion would be mercilessly stabbed with their spears. The Samsara Legion players who wanted to reap the benefits by blocking Yichun's path were stabbed to death, sent flying, and trampled to death by the Samsara Legion's warhorse. Rumble. The Samsara Legion's warhorse was still galloping forward. Their charging posture didn't change at all. In just a few breaths, the Samsara Legion had sliced thousands of Samsara Legion players into two halves, leaving a ground full of corpses. Rumble. The Samsara Legion's warhorse was still galloping forward. Just as the remaining players thought that the Samsara Legion would return and continue their killing spree, the Samsara Legion didn't return. Instead, they galloped towards Yangla County. Chapter 76. It was a wilderness with no roads, but a road was paved with blood and corpses. The gamers on both sides of the road were stunned by the Samsara Legion's charge. They had never seen a cavalry charge before. This time, not only did they witness it, but they also withstood it. But this time, they realized how terrifying a cavalry charge was. Looking at the mutilated corpses on the ground, the gamers swallowed their saliva in astonishment. After a brief moment of shock, the gamers on both sides of the road regained their senses. Their expressions changed as they cursed in the direction of the Samsara Legion. Gosh! Come back! D*M, don't go! Come back! Damn it, I'm a bandit! D*M. Come back and kill me! D*M. Aren't you soldiers? Come back! D*M. Mother of *Cur. My compensation is gone just like that. D*M. If only I had a warhorse. Stop comparing. Even if you have money, you might not be able to buy a warhorse. It's a strategic resource. Just as the players with ulterior motives were dejected, the players who had died rushed out of the resurrection point excitedly. D*M. It doesn't feel good to be killed by cavalry. But this time, I'll get the county magistrate to compensate me. Ha! We'll be rich once we find the county magistrate and receive the compensation. That's for sure. Those NPCs were so stupid that they dared to kill us. They're giving us benefits for free. That's right, those cavalrymen are elite cavalrymen. They must have a powerful background. The county magistrate has to compensate us for being killed by them. Let's go to the county office and find the county magistrate. These players who have been resurrected all ran towards the county office excitedly. At the entrance of the county yamen, when the gamers arrived, the two yamen runners on duty drew their swords and pointed them at the gamers. Then, they shouted angrily, "How dare you? How dare you offend the county office?" The gamers seemed to be used to the way the county constables did things. They weren't afraid or flustered. At this time, a person walked out and bowed. "Brotherly, we're here to seek compensation from the county magistrate. The elite cavalrymen knew that we were good citizens, but they killed us." "What?" The bailiff known as Brotherly was shocked when he heard this. He then opened his mouth to shout. When the gamers saw this, their eyes lit up with excitement. From the shocked expression of the constables, it wasn't hard to tell that they were going to be compensated. "Brotherly, those elite cavalrymen purposely tried to kill us after finding out that we're residents of Yangla County. Brotherly, you have to uphold justice for us." The player who spoke before smirked and explained. The two yamen runners looked at each other, then turned to the county yamen and shouted, "Men, quick! We have work to do." The players were stunned when they heard what the two constables said. They thought the constables dare to capture Yongle County offices, to capture Yongle County magistrate. Yongle have Yongle, see Yongle. Just as they were about to speak, a group of bailiffs rushed out. One of them stopped and asked excitedly, "What's the matter? Where is it? Who are we arresting?" "These are the people who dared to block the path of the cavalry. I'm afraid they are foreign spies. Capture them. The county magistrate will reward them handsomely." The revived gamers were dumbfounded by the words of the constables. Gosh, the script wasn't right. It was a pity that it was useless. The constables charged forward and arrested them one by one. No matter how much they shouted, it was useless. Yongle County, outside the city gate. The Samsara Corps began to slow down. When they were 500 meters away from the city gates, they stopped. Yichen looked at the city gate that had just been closed. He lifted his right hand and waved it at the city gate. At this moment, a soldier of the Samsara Legion left the group and galloped towards the city gate. "Stop! Who are you? Why do you want to attack Yongle County?" An angry roar with a trembling voice suddenly came from the city wall. Dozens of bows were revealed from the city wall. The arrowheads were aimed at the Samsara Legion soldiers at the foot of the city wall. The soldiers of the Samsara Legion glanced at the arrows. They weren't afraid at all. They took a deep breath and shouted, "Let's go." He took a deep breath and said, "First Viscount of the Great Han Empire, Mayor of Samsara Town, Lord Yichun, would like to borrow the passage to Luoyang to present a treasure to His Majesty." As soon as the soldiers of the Samsara Legion finished speaking, the bows that had been exposed on the city walls were quickly pulled back one by one. A centurion stood up from the city wall and looked at the Samsara Legion soldiers at the foot of the city wall. He was about to speak, but his pupils constricted. Then he looked at the cloth armor on his body. After a while, the corners of his mouth twitched involuntarily. If there was no comparison, there would be no harm. He was a centurion, but his equipment was only cloth armor. He looked at the Samsara Legion soldiers at the foot of the city wall. Not only were they riding war horses, but they were also wearing silver-grade Mingguang armor and wielding silver-grade steel and spears. The damage caused by the comparison was too great. After a while, the centurion asked, "Since you're Viscount Yichun, why are you bringing so many troops?" "Bastard! Lord Yichun is a first Viscount of the Empire. Why can't he bring 1,000 troops?" The Samsara Legion soldier was furious and shouted, Can we wait for General Gongsunzan to return before borrowing the passage?" The centurion asked after a moment of silence. Delaying His Majesty from obtaining the treasure is a serious crime. Do you think you can bear the responsibility? The Samsara Legion soldier narrowed his eyes and shouted in a deep voice. The centurion gritted his teeth. After a while, he turned around and shouted, "Open the city gates quickly. Viscount Yichun would like to borrow Yongle County to present a treasure to His Majesty." As soon as the centurion finished speaking, the city gates creaked open slowly. "Enter the city." Yichun waved his right hand and shouted. Chapter 77. The Cycle Legion slowly followed behind Yichun, heading for the city gates, with 1 man and 3 horses. When Yichun led the Samsara Legion into Yongle County, many players had already noticed Yichun. However, when the city gates were closed, no one was allowed to approach the city walls, so the words of the centurion were not heard by the players. Is this the new NPC? Is he here to replace Gongsunzan? F***ck don't. If Gongsunzan isn't here, how am I going to subdue him? Come on, it's broad daylight. Don't talk in your sleep. F***ck. You don't believe me? I'll definitely subdue Gongsunzan. Like how I'll believe you. F***ck. You're not good at history, are you? Gongsunzan was a warlord in history. Do you think he'll recognize you as his master? F***ck. I know why this guy said he's going to subdue Gongsunzan. This F***ker wants to wipe out all of us. If he subdues Gongsunzan, Yuzhou will be his. F***ck. You sure talk big. You want to steal my Zhao Yun? Don't you dare leave the city. If you do, I'll kill you. Yeah, kill this idiot. Kill him until he's level 0. The discussions and curses of the players reached Yi Chen's ears one after another. Yi Chen, who was originally expressionless, suddenly frowned. Gong Sun Zan's rise will happen in the next few years. Time is of the essence. Yu Zhou can only belong to me. Thinking of this, Yi Chen's eyes narrowed, then returned to normal. Yi Chen did not think about Zhao Yun because there was no need to. Zhao Yun was Yi Chen's brother-in-law. This was a foregone conclusion. After Zhao Yun finished his training and went down the mountain, the first thing he did was to find Zhun Ding's sister, Zhao Yu, who had left Changshan. And there was only one result. Zhao Yun would definitely come to Samsara Town. Now that Zhao Yun had arrived at Samsara Town, Yi Chen would not let Zhao Yun leave. Moreover, Yi Chen also knew about Zhao Yun's strategy. What Yi Chen did not only benefited Samsara Town, but also helped him to subdue Zhao Yun. Therefore, Yi Chen did not have to worry about where Zhao Yun would end up. In the center of Yangla County, when Yi Chen arrived with the Samsara Legion, a huge disc array appeared in front of Yi Chen. This was a teleportation array. Through it, one could go to any city with a teleportation array. However, if he teleported to Luoyang, he couldn't directly enter Luoyang. He could only teleport to the outskirts of Luoyang. Because Luoyang was the imperial city, anyone could casually teleport there. Wouldn't the Great Han Emperor be unable to sleep every day? Teleportation arrays cost anywhere from 1 to 100 gold coins per teleportation. If it was a warhorse, the price would be 3 times higher. Yi Chen looked at the teleportation array in front of him, waved his right hand, and shouted, "Teleport to Luoyang." "Yes." The Samsara Legion replied in unison. Then, one by one, they rode onto the teleportation array. The teleportation array lit up again and again. The Samsara Legion began to teleport. The players in Yangla County stood in the distance as they watched with their mouths agape. Damn, NPCs are NPCs. How much is the teleportation fee? I heard the young general say that it's Luoyang. Damn, the teleportation fee is 100 gold coins. 3 horses per person, 1,000 gold coins. There are at least 1,000 of them, right? There must be 1,000 of them. In other words, this teleportation alone costs 1,000,000 gold coins? Don't worry too much. Don't you know that they're NPCs? They don't even have to pay. Damn, I forgot about that. Sigh, if only I had that much money. When I go offline, I'll order a sumptuous meal from the artificial intelligence system. If I had that much money, I'd F***CK her for 3 days and 3 nights. Damn it, I don't have that much money. While the players were discussing, the Samsara Legion finished teleporting. Yi Chen brought Dian Wei onto the teleportation array. There was a flash of light, and they disappeared. 50 miles south of Luoyang, at the teleportation array. When Yi Chen came out of the teleportation array, he was taken aback. Then he frowned. The Samsara Legion was in a standoff with a group of 500 cavalrymen. There were only 500 cavalrymen. Their equipment and warhorses were inferior to the Samsara Legion. However, they held their heads high and weren't afraid. A centurion of the Samsara Legion hurried to Yi Chen's side and bowed. "My lord, these people claim to be the family of General Hijin. They're here to receive the warhorses. They also want..." Yi Chen squinted his eyes and asked in a deep voice, "What else do they want?" "They want our armor and weapons. They said that if we don't give them to them, we won't be able to return to Yuzhou. They'll even imprison you, my lord." The centurion gritted his teeth and said. Just at this moment, a loud shout was heard. "Have you thought it through? That rascal, your Yi Chen? Hurry up and ask your trash family to hand over their armor and weapons. I'll put in a good word for you in front of the general and get you an official position." Chapter 78. Hearing this, Yi Chen's eyes squinted as a glint flashed across them. Dian Wei, who was beside Yi Chen, glared at him, and his murderous aura continued to rise. However, Dian Wei did not move or speak. If there were players who were familiar with history, they would immediately realize that something was wrong when they saw Dian Wei's current state. The saying, "the servant dies when the master is humiliated," was not something that could be casually said. Dian Wei had always been loyal to Yi Chun. However, Dian Wei did not speak. Not only did he not speak, but he also did not move. It was obvious that Dian Wei had received some orders not to act on his own. Unfortunately, other than Yi Chun, who was a player, the others were all natives of this world. None of Yi Jin's household guards knew Dian Wei, nor did they know how strong Dian Wei was. Otherwise, they would definitely be suspicious. The Samsara Legion's soldiers were all livid, and their murderous aura continued to rise. However, they did not move, because they were worried that once they acted, they would bring disaster to Yi Chun. They were suppressing their anger. "Hey, did you see that? These bumpkins want to kill us." Disdainful words came from Yi Jin's household guards. "Ha ha! A bunch of trash. Don't you know where you are? Even if they see us, they will have to greet us obediently. How dare they attack us? Tis TSK. What kind of nuisance is this Yi Chun? Oh, right, he's a first-rank viscount. What a high noble title. Ha ha!" Yi Jin's subordinates mocked him crazily one after another. Yi Chun looked at the centurion beside him and asked, "Are you afraid of bringing disaster to me? Are you afraid that I will be framed by Yi Jin and imprisoned?" "Yes, my lord." The centurion clenched his fist and said with a repressed expression, "Then do you know what crime an ordinary person commits by insulting a noble?" Yi Chun nodded and asked. The centurion was stunned for a moment before he said, "A light punishment would be flogging. A heavy punishment would be exile for 1,000 miles, or even beheading. Then do you know where you are from? Whose soldiers are they? What kind of existence are you?" Yi Chun looked at the soldiers of the Samsara Legion and shouted. As soon as Yi Chun finished his sentence, the centurion straightened his body and replied loudly, "That's right. We are the soldiers of Samsara town." They were the Lord's soldiers. "We are the Samsara Legion." Swish! The soldiers of the Samsara Legion straightened their bodies in unison, gripped the steel bars and guns in their hands, and shouted in unison, "We are the soldiers of Samsara town." They were the Lord's soldiers. "We are the Samsara Legion." Very good. Remember your identity. Remember your honor. You have killed countless bandits. How can you tolerate such a small insult? Yi Chun nodded and shouted, "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The soldiers of the Samsara Legion raised their steel bars and guns in unison and shouted angrily. In the distance, Yi Jin's subordinates were all shocked. They had felt the killing intent earlier, but they were not afraid. This was because they were the subordinates of Great General Yi Jin. As long as one was a general, there was no one who did not curry favor with Great General Yi Jin. Moreover, they did not believe that the Samsara Legion would dare to attack them in front of the emperor. Therefore, they had nothing to fear. But at this moment, the killing intent of the Samsara Legion was so strong that it made them feel suffocated. At this moment, Yi Chun opened his eyes and waved his right hand. The Godslayer instantly appeared and shouted, "We are offering treasures to His Majesty, but there are people who claim to be Great General Yi Jin's subordinates and want to snatch the treasures. This is no different from rebellion. Today, we will eliminate the rebels for His Majesty and wipe out the demons and monsters for His Majesty." When Yi Chun said this, he pointed the god-slaying spear at Yi Jin's guards and shouted, "Kill the traitors! Kill! Kill! Kill!" The soldiers of the Samsara Legion shouted in unison and mounted their horses. They raised their steel bars and guns and aimed them at Yi Jin's subordinates. Dian Wei pulled out his iron halberd with his right hand and squeezed the horse's belly with his feet. "Nay!" The war horse neighed. "For His Majesty, kill the bandits." Dian Wei shouted and waved the iron halberd in his hand. He took the lead and rushed towards Yi Jin's subordinates. "Kill! Kill! Kill!" The soldiers of the Samsara Legion shouted in unison and then desperately urged their war horses to charge with Dian Wei. They had been suppressing and enduring before, and each of them felt very uncomfortable. At this moment, they exploded and instantly went berserk. They wanted to kill these dregs who dared to insult their lord and their Samsara Legion. They wanted to use the blood of these dregs to wash away the shame of their lord and the Samsara Legion. A strong and violent, murderous aura erupted in an instant. Before He Jin's subordinates could recover from the intense, murderous aura of the Samsara Legion, the Samsara Legion began a charge. You, we are the subordinates of General He Jin. How dare you kill us? A terrified scream suddenly sounded. Stop! Stop! This is a misunderstanding. We're not traitors. One of them explained in horror. If you don't stop, the general will punish you and execute your entire family. Stop! We don't want the war horses anymore. We don't want your armor and weapons either. We're here to welcome you. We're just joking with you. Stop! He Jin's subordinates were really panicking at this moment. They did not expect Yi-chan to really dare to give the order to kill them. The Samsara Legion really dared to attack them. The cold and merciless, murderous aura of the Samsara Legion was not fake at all. At this moment, He Jin's subordinates all felt the threat of death. They all wanted to tell the Samsara Legion to stop. They did not want to die. They still wanted to live and continue to live in awe. However, no matter what He Jin's subordinates said, Dian Wei did not stop. The Samsara Legion behind him did not stop either. Run! These bastards are really going to kill us. A person screamed, Run! Go back and report to the general that the traitor Yi-chan is rebelling. A person shouted in horror. Until now, there were still people who wanted to threaten Yi-chan and the Samsara Legion. They wanted to make Yi-chan retract his order and tell the Samsara Legion to stop their charge. The reason was simple. This person was very smart. He was also a cavalryman and knew the horror of cavalry charge. He did not expect the Samsara Legion to charge in such a short time. Now, he could only hope that Yi-chan and the Samsara Legion would have some misgivings and stop their charge. Chapter 79. As long as the Samsara Legion stopped their charge, he would be able to escape and return to Luoyang. At that time, he would be able to find trouble with Yi-chan and settle the old and new scores. He Jin would not let Yi-chan off either. He was very sure of this. There had been a few generals who were angry, but they were all dealt with by He Jin in the end. In the end, they either died or were demoted. As long as he was given a chance to live, he firmly believed that Yi-chan would be severely punished. Rumble! The horses galloped on the ground and charged rapidly without any intention of stopping. He Jin's generals hurriedly turned their horses around and waved their whips frantically, wanting to leave immediately and avoid the Samsara Legion. However, at this moment, the Samsara Legion arrived. Dian Wei took the lead and smashed the halberd in his hand mercilessly at He Jin's generals, smashing a person's head with each halberd. Blood and brain matter splattered all over the place. The horse continued galloping forward crazily, and He Jin's generals were smashed into pieces by Dian Wei's halberd the moment he passed them on his horse. Kill! 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 The Samsara Legion officially came into contact with He Jin's generals. They mercilessly stabbed their spears and continued to charge forward without stopping. In just a few breaths, more than 200 people were mercilessly killed by the Samsara Legion on the spot. Rumble! The warhorse was still galloping, and the sound of its hooves shook the sky. The Samsara Legion, which had cut open a gap in He Jin's generals, turned their horses around without slowing down under Dian Wei's lead, and charged toward He Jin's generals again. No, don't kill me. I didn't do it on purpose. Lord Viscount Yi-chan, this lowly one was blind. Please spare me. A person suddenly looked at Yi-chan and shouted in horror. Lord Viscount, this lowly one was blind. Please spare this lowly one. This lowly one swears to the heavens that I will never speak of today's matter. Lord, this lowly one is willing to surrender and follow you. Please spare this lowly one. He Jin's subordinates instantly collapsed. They would never have thought that this group of cavalrymen equipped with silver-ranked equipment would be so ferocious that they would not even need 3 seconds to charge. They also did not expect the Samsara Legion soldiers to be merciless when it came to killing. In just one charge, they lost half of their men. Seeing that the second charge was about to arrive, how could they not be afraid when they couldn't run or fight? Yi-chan ignored He Jin's family guards. In Yi-chan's eyes, they were all dead. Yichen couldn't help but smirk at the sight of He Jin's subordinates who were on the verge of collapse. As expected, Feng Xiao was right. As long as he sent someone to spread the news of the treasure offering in Luoyang, it would definitely attract He Jin's attention. Then, he would spread the news that there were war horses among the items he offered. He Jin would definitely try to snatch them. After all, those were 2,000 Wuhuan war horses, which are not even on the list of treasures. He Jin could not help but be tempted. This time, it could be said that he had fallen out with He Jin. 1/3 of the plan was completed, and the rest wasn't too difficult. Rumble, the Samsara Legion once again charged at He Jin's subordinates. This time, they directly killed all of them, not leaving a single one alive. When Yichen saw this, he let out a long sigh. Then, he looked at Dian Wei and said, "Clean up the battlefield. Throw away the corpses and take away the useful ones. Then, head west for 5 kilometers and set up camp." "Yes, Your Majesty," Dian Wei bowed and replied. Yichen nodded. Just as he was about to leave, he suddenly thought of something and said to Dian Wei, "Remember this. No matter who it is, if they dare to approach or attack you, kill them without mercy. Afterward, make excuses and say that the thieves wanted to steal the treasures offered to His Majesty." When Dian Wei heard this, his eyes lit up as he loudly replied, "This general obeys." As a general, he liked what Yi Chun said the most. "If you have any ideas about me, I'll *king kill you. I don't care who you are." Yi Chun smiled and squeezed his horse's belly. The war horse let out a long neigh and galloped toward Luoyang. Yi Chun warned Dian Wei because he had no other choice. Dian Wei didn't know how to play any tricks. If a player discovered Dian Wei in the Samsara Legion, they would definitely try to confirm the identities of Dian Wei and the Samsara Legion. This wasn't the key. The key was that there were still cavalry patrolling Luoyang. These cavalry were equally arrogant. Moreover, after He Jin learned that his subordinates had been killed, it was very likely that he would cause trouble for Yi Chun. Therefore, Yi Chun had to warn Dian Wei in advance. This way, Dian Wei could do whatever he wanted. As for the reason, it was very simple. He wanted to stop the thieves from stealing the treasures offered to His Majesty. No matter how many times he said it, this reason was a jack of all trades. The Great Han Empire hadn't fallen yet. Although the emperor didn't have many years left to live, he was still alive. There was no need to say anything. Just say that it was for the sake of the emperor. No matter how much He Jin tried to frame him, it would be useless. Of course, this couldn't be used as a golden ticket to avoid death. Yi Chun still needed to go to Luoyang to do something else. After this was done, He Jin would be even less of a threat. Moreover, Yi Chun wouldn't need to get into trouble. Chapter 80. Luoyang City Gate. After Yi Chun arrived, he dismounted and walked into the city. There were many players here. All of them were wearing nondescript equipment. They were in groups of 3 to 5 and came in and out of the city. Most of them were players who went out to take on bandit suppression missions to kill bandits. There were also some profiteers who bought all kinds of items from players at low prices and sold them at high prices. After the initial shock and confusion, a considerable number of players had started to understand the game world. Before the meteor shower, games were just people's pastime. There were all kinds of games and all kinds of playstyles. After the meteor shower, the game became the only game. Here, the money earned could be used in real life. The more awesome you were, the more awesome you would be in real life. In a mutated world, there were dangers everywhere. People were eager to improve their strength. Therefore, more and more people started to level up crazily, earn money crazily, get equipment crazily, and improve their strength crazily. However, where there were people, there were fights. For the sake of leveling up, for the sake of dropped items, killing was everywhere. However, in the city and the game, the players were very obedient. They couldn't be dishonest. If they committed a crime, they would be imprisoned. If they killed someone, they would be beheaded. There were many people on the streets. There were players and natives. Yi Chun's appearance didn't attract the attention of the natives. However, many players noticed Yi Chun. This was because there were NPCs for temporary missions in the game, and Yi Chun's appearance and attire looked like an NPC, no matter how one looked at it. The players were all excited. All of them ran to the NPC and tried to talk to him to get missions. Unfortunately, the players suddenly realized that this NPC was unbelievably cold. No matter what they said, the NPC ignored them. You lion. When Yi-chun reached this place, he prepared to enter and settle down first. At this moment, Yi-chun suddenly thought of something. He immediately turned to the group of players who hadn't given up and said, "Tomorrow, I will auction an auction. Tomorrow at noon, I will hold an auction here. The items to be auctioned are king-level cultivation methods, mystic-level weapons, and spiritual herbs. The starting price is 10,000 gold." The moment Yi-chun finished his words, the players were all stunned. Then, there was an uproar. F***CK. What did I just hear? King-level cultivation techniques? Mystic-grade weapon? I was wondering why this NPC didn't speak. It turns out that he will only speak to us after we reach the inn. Damn, this NPC is awesome. The best equipment sold in the shop is only bronze equipment. I don't even see silver equipment. He actually has a mysterious grade weapon. The mystic tier is nothing. I didn't hear that. A king tier cultivation technique? F***CK. That's a king tier martial art. I've heard that without it, even if you reach level 100, you won't be able to reach level 90. F***CK. Right now, the highest level cultivation technique that has been dropped is only a peerless one. A king-level cultivation technique has never appeared before. Just as the players were engaged in heated discussion, Yi-chun entered the pleasant descent inn and asked for a heaven room before going to rest. Because that night, Yi-chun still had something to do. At this moment, a group of people appeared on the street. They were all wearing armor, and they aggressively chased away the players at the entrance of the hotel. The NPC you're talking about is staying in this inn? He wants to auction a king-grade cultivation technique and a mystic-grade weapon. A man in a brocade robe walked out and asked the players who were waiting respectfully at the side. "Yes, young Master Wong. This is the place. That NPC lives in Heaven Room A1, the players said flatteringly. Very good. The man in the brocade robe nodded satisfactorily. Then he casually tossed a purple coin to the player. Thank you, young Master Wong, for your reward. The player received the purple coin in surprise and thanked him profusely. Purple coins were of a higher grade than gold. This was a currency created after Pangu opened up the currency exchange system. One purple coin was equal to 10,000 gold coins. Young Master Wong then looked at a fierce-looking man behind him. Without a word, the man walked towards the players who refused to leave. When he arrived in front of the players, the fierce-looking man spat out a mouthful of phlegm in disdain and shouted, "Listen up. You don't want to die. Listen up. You don't want to die, be it in real life or in the game. Shut your F***king mouths. No one is to spread the news here. Do you hear me?" When the players who refused to leave heard this, their expressions changed. Many of them gritted their teeth and turned to leave. Then, more and more players left the place. However, at this moment, a message appeared on the World Channel. A mysterious NPC has appeared in Luoyang's Yulian. He will be auctioning an Imperial-level cultivation technique and a Mystic-level weapon at noon tomorrow. Don't ask me who I am. I'm a living lay foam. The World Channel, which was originally calm, instantly exploded. F***CK. An NPC is auctioning an Imperial-level cultivation technique and a Mystic-level weapon? F***CK. I want one too. F***CK. Who can lend me some money? After I buy it, I'll bring you guys to level up, get equipment, and get the cultivation technique. Please sponsor me. I'm Yubu Fawn, level 85. Who can lend me money to buy the Imperial-level cultivation technique? I'll work for him for 3 years. Idiot, do you think Imperial-level cultivation techniques are like cabbages? Now that there's one, with so many people wanting it, who would give it to you? Actually, the key is that this Imperial-level cultivation technique can make one's martial strength exceed 90 and reach 91, entering the innate realm. This is related to one's strength in real life. Who would give it to someone else? F***CK. I want it too, but unfortunately, I don't have the money. F***CK. We're just a bunch of commoners. We can only watch. I'm afraid that those big forces have already started to move. While the world channel was buzzing, Luoyang's teleportation circle lit up again and again. Players appeared one after another, and then went straight to Luoyang. Luoyang, you lie in. Young Master Wang looked at the surrounding players with an ashen face. At this moment, the ferocious-looking man from before roared with a ferocious expression. F***CK. Did you eat a bear's heart or a leopard's guts? You don't believe my words, right? Just you wait. When I go offline, I'll knock on your door one by one. When I find you, I'll kill all of you idiots. Don't even think about living. A young man suddenly stood up and scolded angrily. F***CKU, 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 come and find me. Let's see if you can find me. Idiot, it's just a lot of people. Pretend to be a big-tailed wolf. In reality, we're not in the same city. I'm not afraid. Let me tell you, the message just now was sent by your father. Chapter 81. Bastard, just you wait. You think you're awesome just because you're not in the same city in real life? Let me tell you, if I tell you that you can't survive in the game, you'll also be finished in real life. The fierce-looking man's face turned green as he shouted. Fisk, you've eaten too much sh*t. If I can't survive in Luoyang, there are other places. The world is so big, where can I survive? Idiot. The young man spat and pointed his middle finger at him. The fierce-looking man was infuriated. Just as he opened his mouth, he was interrupted by young Master Wang. Enough, let's go. After young Master Wang finished speaking, he left the pleasant arrival inn with his group of subordinates. The surrounding players heaved a sigh of relief and left in twos and threes. However, when they left, they couldn't help but look at the young man and shake their heads helplessly. F***CK, what's with your expressions? The young man was stunned and asked, Let me give you a word of advice. Run as far away as you can. The world is big, but there are teleportation portals. One of the players couldn't bear to see the young man leave. He stopped and said, I. The young man's face froze. He stuttered for a long time, but couldn't say a word. Happy arrival in, second floor, Sky Room A1. Yichin sat by the window and watched the scene on the street. His heart didn't waver at all. The small incident on the street was just a microcosm of the world. There was oppression and resistance. However, in the end, the ones who could survive and do well were usually the ones with the most power. It was rare for powerful individuals to appear in the beginner's area. The ones who could survive and do well were always the Lord-class players. They could only fight monsters and follow the storyline to get equipment and skills. If they wanted to be awesome or pretentious, like the young man from before, they would often be beaten into idiots. Yichin didn't care about the young man's future. He wouldn't be moved by the young man's announcement of the auction on the World Channel. If he didn't announce it, there would still be people who would announce it. It would just take a little longer. If he pretended like young Master Wang, he would be hated by many people. If they could trip him up, they would do it. If he didn't announce it now, he could still announce it through other channels. Therefore, the news of the auction could not be stopped. Looking at the sky, Yichin closed the window and began to practice the 9 revolutions mysterious art. One's strength could not only be increased by leveling up by killing monsters, but also through cultivation and consuming elixirs. This was also the reason why Yichin had chosen to purchase spiritual herbs during the auction. There really weren't many spiritual herbs in the novice area, but at least there were some. Although the average strength of the players wasn't strong, there were quite a number of them. The more people there were, the more likely they would be lucky enough to get something good. Such existences had appeared in Yichin's previous life, and Yichin's target was precisely these people. Other than some treasures, everything else was trash to Yichin. The 9 revolutions mysterious art and the Divine Knight Imperial Thunder technique were both top-notch chaos-level techniques. The weapon, God Slayer, damaged, was an innate cardinal treasure. What Yichin lacked now were all kinds of treasures and spiritual herbs. Of course, when the Yellow Turban Rebellion broke out soon, Yichin would have a chance to quickly increase his strength. Killing bandits now gave him no experience at all. While Yichin was cultivating in the inn, Luoyang City was bustling with noise and excitement. In the entire novice area of the Three Kingdoms, all the rich players, without exception, ran to Luoyang. Their goal was the two pieces of trash that Yi Chun was going to auction, the mountain shaking art, king level true, and the thunder spear, mystic level true. No one knew the secret of the true item of the moment. However, in at most one day in reality, someone would casually summon a longsword because of a fight. That longsword was a true weapon. Its level was very low, but it also exposed the secret of the true word. In this life, when the game had just started, Yi Chun had originally planned to be a profiteer. However, as his forces developed, Yi Chun didn't have that intention. If he had the time, it would be better to attack cities and plunder them. The stronger his forces, the more he could earn from fighting. It was much more profitable than being a profiteer. Moreover, even if Yi Chun was a profiteer, it was impossible for him to receive any high-level true item. Even if there were, it would be Yi Chun who fought for it. Therefore, there was no need to be a profiteer. It was more suitable for Yi Chun to directly reveal the secret. Time passed little by little. When the bright moon hung in the sky, Yi Chun opened his eyes. It was time. Yi Chun let out a long breath and changed into a brocade robe. After putting on his clothes, he went to the northern window, opened it, took a look, and then jumped down. This was a residential alley, not facing the street. In addition, it was night, so no one appeared here. Yi Chun silently landed and silently left. Then, he walked toward a mansion in his memory. 2 hours later, Yi Chun walked out of Zhang Mansion with a smirk. Then, he returned to the Pleasant Inn. Zhang Mansion. Head eunuch Zhang Rang was lying on a recliner, holding a night pearl the size of a baby's fist with an infatuated expression. There was a plate on the table next to him, and on the plate were 35 night pearls of the same size. The bedroom, which should have been dark, was now as bright as day. Adoptive father. That brat Yi Chun gave adoptive father such a rare treasure. Could it be that he has some ulterior motive? A young man walked in and looked at the night pearl in Zhang Rang's hand suspiciously. Ulterior motive? He's just a noble. What ulterior motive could he have? Even if he did, it would only be for an official position, Zhang Rang said in a shrill voice. But this child heard from his subordinates that this Yi Chun killed 500 of that old bastard He Jin's cavalry today. Adoptive father wants to take responsibility for this matter? The young man asked with a frown. Idiot, Zhang Rang shrieked. He then stood up and looked at the young man. How can I not protect someone who can kill 500 of that bastard He Jin's cavalry? Besides, do you think that even without me, Yi Chun would have been framed by He Jin? Don't forget that everyone knows that he came to Luoyang to present a treasure to His Majesty. Chapter 82. When the young man heard this, his expression changed, and he hurriedly said, But foster father, everyone knows that Yi Chun is an ingrate, a scoundrel, and a scumbag. He has done all sorts of evil deeds. If he were to bite foster father, then slap. Zhang Rang gave the young man a hard slap, and then shouted in a sharp voice, From today onwards, I no longer have a foster son like you. You have 2 hours to get out of Luoyang. Otherwise, don't blame me for being merciless. Foster father. The young man held his face that was slapped and couldn't help but be stunned. Then he cried out in alarm. Men. Zhang Rang shouted angrily. Foster father, I'll leave Luoyang immediately. The young man was shocked and hurriedly said. After saying that, he hurriedly left Zhang Rang's mansion. Zhang Rang looked at the young man's back and said coldly, Idiot! If it weren't for the fact that you've been showing your filial piety to me every few days, I would have definitely beheaded you. You actually dare to say that you've done all sorts of evil deeds in front of me. You really don't know how to spell the word death. On the street, after the young man came out of Zhang Rang's mansion, his face immediately turned ashen. Damn it, damn eunuch. I gave you so much money, but you turned against me just like that. After the young man finished speaking, he looked back at Zhang Rang's mansion, and his expression turned even uglier. F***CK. I originally wanted to get a king-level martial art from this damn eunuch, but I actually failed because of a single sentence. When the young man said this, his face suddenly revealed a sinister expression. Yi-chun, it's all Yi-chen's fault. Damn it. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have been chased out. I would definitely have gotten a king-level martial art. After he finished speaking fiercely, a vicious glint flashed in his eyes. Since I didn't succeed in scheming against you, don't think that you'll have an easy time. Now that so many people are looking for you, if I don't sell you for a good price, I'll be letting you down. The young man made his decision instantly and sent a message on the World Channel. I have Yi Chen's exact location. If you want to know, I'll give you 1,000,000 taels of gold. No bargaining. As soon as this sentence appeared, the World Channel exploded. F***CK. Where was Yi Chun? Hurry up and say it. That's right. Hurry up and tell me where Boss Yi Chun is. I'm determined to follow him. F***CK. Why do I feel like this idiot is a swindler? Recently, there have been a lot of people pretending to be Yi Chen's relatives and going around swindling people. They've swindled a lot of people. He's definitely a liar. F***K. So many forces couldn't find Yi Chun. What does he know? That's right. Everyone, don't be fooled by him. It wasn't easy to earn money, but in the end, it ended up in this idiot's pocket. It's too late to cry. The World Channel was very lively, but most of them were either asking the young man to tell them Yi Chen's exact location or calling him a liar. No one believed him. On the streets of Luoyang, the young man looked at the World Channel with an ashen face. After a while, they were all scolding him or asking him to tell them Yi Chen's location. However, no one believed him. No one even added him as a friend. F***K. They don't believe me. The young man stomped his feet in anger. After a while, he sent another message on the World Channel. I'm Zhao Ritian from Shanghai. Not only do I know where Yi Chun is, but I've also seen his face. If you believe me, spend money to buy the information. 1,000,000 taels of gold. As soon as the young man's words appeared on the World Channel, it instantly cleared up. However, 3 seconds later, another group of people started scolding the young man. Idiot. Identification complete. Idiot. Confirmation complete. Idiot. Confirmation complete. Zhao Ritian looked at the constant scolding on the World Channel. He was so angry that his entire body shook. At this moment, the sound of friend requests rang out one after another. Zhao Ritian was slightly stunned. Then, he smirked and accepted them one by one. Just as Zhao Ritian was waiting for those who added him as a friend to speak to him and give him 10,000,000 taels of gold to buy information about Yi Chun, the sound of notifications came one after another. Ding! Your good friend Luo Badeo has cut ties with you because he hates you. Ding! Your good friend Bloody Rose has cut ties with you because she hates you. Ding! Your good friend. The notifications came one after another, causing Zhao Ritian to be stunned. F***CK. This shouldn't be. Didn't they add me as a friend to buy information about Yi Chun? As Zhao Ritian said this, he suddenly thought of something and his face stiffened. F***K. All of you. So the reason you added me as a friend was to see my current location. Zhao Ritian ran to the World Channel and started scolding. You shameless bastards. You added me as a friend just to see my location. Hurry up and give me 10,000,000 taels of gold. Otherwise, I'll get Zhang Rang to teach you all a lesson. As soon as Zhao Ritian's words appeared in the World Channel, the world fell silent. Then, more and more people added Zhao Ritian as a friend. Zhao Ritian, who was furious, was instantly angered by the series of system notifications. He cursed in the World Channel again. Trash! You want to reap without sowing? You want to add me as a friend? Let me tell you, none of you will know Yi Chen's location. As soon as Zhao Ritian finished speaking, a message appeared in the World Channel. F***CK. So Yi Chun is in Luoyang. Zhao Ritian was slightly stunned. Then, he realized that the person who sent the message was someone he added as a friend out of curiosity when he first entered the game. F***KU. Zhao Ritian was so angry that he vomited blood. At this moment, hurried footsteps could be heard. A group of eunuchs wearing gold-grade equipment rushed out of Zhang Rang's mansion. Zhao Ritian was just about to continue cursing and venting on the World Channel when he suddenly remembered something. Zhang Rang asked him to leave Luoyang within 2 hours. Thinking of this, Zhao Ritian felt terrible. He could not be bothered to waste any more time. He turned around and ran towards the teleportation circle in Luoyang. Whoosh! A sound was heard. An arrow instantly hit Zhao Ritian and pierced through his heart. At this moment, a World Channel announcement was heard. Ding! Player Zhao Ritian conspired and caused chaos. He is evil beyond redemption. He has been killed by Zhang Chongshi. Chapter 83. As soon as the world announcement appeared, the World Channel instantly went silent. 3 seconds later, the World Channel became lively again. F***CK. I think I heard him say that he told Zhang Rang to teach those who added him a lesson but didn't pay him. F***CK. I'm dying of laughter. I thought he was so awesome that he befriended great eunuch Zhang Rang. But it turns out that he's just a pretentious prick. He's been F***ed into an idiot. He even F***king asked Zhang Rang for help. Great. Now he's been F***ed to death by Zhang Rang. Serve him right for being a pretentious prick. But speaking of which, why is Yi Chun in Luoyang? Who the F***ck knows? If it weren't for the fact that I don't have enough money on me, I would immediately teleport to Luoyang to see the face of God Yi Chun. What did you say? I just came online. Yi Chun is in Luoyang? Yi Chun is in Luoyang, but I don't know where exactly. Haha. I'll go to Luoyang right now to see this awesome man. F***CK. I finally know where Yi Chun is. F***CK. I'll ask him in person why he hid the secret of the game. Idiot. If you knew the secret, would you tell him? Are you a F***king lackey of Yi Chun? F***CKU. I'm just stating facts. Do you F***king think that everyone is F***king your mother? The World Channel's content was directly transferred to Yi Chun in the end, and it was extremely noisy. Yi Chun did not open the World Channel, so he was unaware of everything that was happening in the World Channel. However, the system announcement made Yi Chun, who had returned to Yuan, stunned for a moment. Zhao Ritian? Yi Chun thought about it again and again, but he still could not remember such a person in his previous life. How could he be killed by Zhang Rang and be accused of conspiring? Yi Chun thought about it again and again, but he could not figure it out. He simply stopped thinking about it and continued to practice the 9 Revolutions' mysterious art. What Yi Chun did not know was that Zhao Ritian was actually a tragic character. He was extremely unlucky. In his previous life, Zhao Ritian had exhausted all his wealth but still failed to obtain a king-level technique from Zhang Rang. In the end, he was buried in the dust of history. In this life, because he was jealous of Yi Chun's various world announcements, Zhao Ritian played tricks on Yi Chun. However, he did not know that in this world, there was an attribute that could not be seen or touched. Providence. After Yi Chun was reborn, his luck was already flourishing. The only God-level village creation token in the world was obtained by Yi Chun and used to create reincarnation. The Samsara territory gathered the providence of heaven and earth, and this providence belonged to Yi Chun. Therefore, because of his selfishness and greed, Zhao Ritian's tragedy was brought forward by at least a year. Of course, Yi Chun did not know about this. However, it did not matter whether he knew or not. A trash like him was not worth Yi Chun's time. The next day, before the sun had even risen, Yi Chun quietly left the inn and went to wait outside the imperial city, the Great Han Empire's imperial palace. The morning assembly was held as usual. The emperor of the Great Han Empire, Lu Hong, was wearing a royal robe. He sat on the throne with a blank face. He had too much fun last night and even asked 5 concubines to sleep. The reason he came to the assembly was to go through the motions and show off his brilliance. Otherwise, Lu Hong would not have come to the assembly at all. Lu Hong yawned and waved at Zhang Rang in boredom. Zhang Rang nodded with a flattering face, then stepped forward, puffed out his chest, and raised his head, looked at the civil and military officials in the court, and shouted in a shrill voice, "If there is a memorial, then the assembly is dismissed. This subject has a memorial." Great General He Jin stood up with a face full of anger, bowed and said, "Speak." Lu Hong looked at He Jin and was stunned for a moment before he spoke. He Jin bowed, and then shouted passionately, "Thank you, Your Majesty." The mayor of Samsara town, Yi Chun, killed 5,000 Great Han Empire cavalrymen outside Luoyang City yesterday. This man has committed treason and has no regard for the laws of the country. I beg Your Majesty to issue an edict to capture this traitor and execute his entire family to restore order. When Lu Hong heard this, he was stunned for a moment before he became furious. Such a traitor! Why do you have to report to me? Just kill him. When Lu Hong said this, he was suddenly stunned. He then looked at Zhang Rang in confusion and said, "Yi Chun? Why do I feel like I've heard of this name before?" "Your Majesty, Yi Chun is the first-rank Viscount of the Great Han Empire who exterminated more than 100,000 bandits and killed 15,000 Wuhan cavalrymen. He is the one who has been rumored in Luoyang to be presenting a treasure to Your Majesty," Zhang Rang said with a fawning expression. It's him? We remember now. He came to Luoyang to present a treasure to us. But why did he kill 5,000 Great Han cavalrymen? Lu Hong's eyes lit up, and he asked in confusion. He had come to Luoyang to present a treasure and even killed 5,000 Great Han cavalrymen. Even though Lu Hong was muddle-headed, he still found it very inconceivable. Zhang Rang bowed and said, "Your Majesty, this servant has something to say, but I'm not sure if I should say it." After saying this, Zhang Rang cautiously glanced at He Jin and then revealed an extremely exaggerated expression of fear. "Speak. With us here, who would dare bully you?" Lu Hong roared in rage when he saw how afraid Zhang Rang was. He Jin's face instantly turned ashen as he glared viciously at Zhang Rang. He looked like he wanted to skin Zhang Rang alive. Zhang Rang faintly glanced at He Jin, then respectfully bowed to Lu Hong and said, "Brother Lu, I'm sorry. Your Majesty, this servant heard that Viscount Yi Chun traveled a long and arduous journey to Luoyang to escort the treasure, but someone sent a guard to seize it. And Viscount Yi Chun is extremely loyal to Your Majesty. Even though he was in grave danger and could have been killed at any time, he still resisted. In the end, he killed those guards and protected Your Majesty's treasure." The moment Zhang Rang finished speaking, Lu Hong flew into a rage and slapped his chair. Bang! "He Jin, tell us, why did you steal our treasure?" Lu Hong roared at He Jin with an ashen face. "Why, Your Majesty? This subject did not send anyone to steal Your Majesty's treasure." He Jin jumped in fright and hastily bowed. Although he wanted to steal the treasure, he did not dare. If he sent someone, it would only be to steal the warhorse. But how could he say that? If he said it, it would be the same as slapping his own face. Yi Chun came to Luoyang to offer the treasure, but He Jin sent someone to steal the warhorse, only to have the guard he sent killed and even falsely accused in court? As a mighty great general, how could he be so shameless? At this moment, He Jin felt even worse than if he had swallowed a dead fly, but he could not continue explaining. He had already said that Yi Chun had killed 5,000 cavalry. It had always been an exaggeration, but now that Zhang Rang had said it, it was useless for He Jin to explain. "Bastard, if not for my beloved concubine, we would have you executed by 1,000 cuts," roared Lu Hong angrily. Cold sweat instantly covered He Jin's face as he hurriedly bowed and explained. "Your Majesty, this humble subject is at fault. This humble subject only realized it now. This humble subject was deceived by this subordinate. This humble subject didn't know Yi Chun at all before this, nor did this humble subject know that Yi Chun was here to present a treasure. This subject also did not know that his subordinates had designs on Yi Chun, but Her Majesty, this subject now understands. They must have gone out for the warhorse that Yi Chun brought. After all, they are loyal people. For Your Majesty, for the Great Han, they wanted to obtain Yi Chun's warhorse so that they could serve Your Majesty. Your Majesty, please reconsider." A general stepped forward and bowed. "Your Majesty, please reconsider. The great general did not know. As for those 5,000 cavalry, they were only there for the warhorse. Their goal was for the great Han, for your majesty, not to steal the treasure offered to your majesty. Wang Yin stepped forward and bowed. Chapter 84. Enough! Lu Hong angrily roared. After a while, Lu Hong said with an ashen face, Great General He Jin, for your lack of discipline, your salary will be forfeited for 3 years and 10,000 purple coins. He Jin's face froze when he heard this. 1 purple coin was 10,000 taels of gold. This was 100 million taels of gold. Although He Jin could afford it, this was too much. Don't tell us that you don't have it. If you dare say a single word, we will have your house searched. Lu Hong coldly said, This lowly subject will think of a way to gather it. He Jin hastily bowed in fright. Lu Hong coldly snorted and shouted, 3 days. We will only give you 3 days. If you don't see it, just wait for your house to be searched. This lowly subject obeys the decree. He Jin hastily bowed. Father Rang, that kid Yi Chun has arrived in Luoyang. Why hasn't he come to see us? Lu Hong didn't even look at Yi Jin. He looked directly at Zhang Rang and fervently asked, Your Majesty, Viscount Yi Chun has no official position. If he wants to see your Majesty, he can only wait for your Majesty's summons. Zhang Rang chuckled and bowed. At this moment, Zhang Rang was in an extremely good mood, especially when he saw He Jin's shocked and angry expression, but he didn't dare to say anything. Zhang Rang couldn't be happier. Hence, it was appropriate for Xiao Chan to put in good words for Yi Chun. Official position? Right. Yi Chun has exterminated more than 100,000 bandits and killed 15,000 Wuhuan cavalry. He could be considered a pillar of the country. Why hasn't anyone reported this? Lu Hong was taken aback and asked, Your Majesty, perhaps the generals in Yuzhou don't want Viscount Yi Chun to stand out and be overshadowed by Yi Chun. As for the specifics, this servant doesn't know. Your Majesty, please forgive this servant, Zhang Rang said regretfully. Zhang Rang naturally wasn't willing to say the truth, because if any official wanted to be promoted, they would have to go through him. If you don't give enough benefits, you want to become an official? Dream on. How dare you? Who is in charge of Samsara town? Lu Hong shouted angrily. Reporting to Your Majesty, this servant checked last night. It seems to be Gong Sun Zan. Zhang Rang said at this time. Gong Sun Zan? Who is Gong Sun Zan? No matter who he is, pass down the decree. Gong Sun Zan's character was not good, and he was jealous of the virtuous, so he was demoted to a commoner. Lu Hong said without thinking. Your Majesty, no. Lu Ji suddenly stood up and shouted loudly. Why? Lu Hong asked angrily. Lu Ji bowed and said, Reporting to Your Majesty, General Gong Sun Zan is a general and does not have the authority to manage Samsara town. Moreover, the Wuhuan tribe is currently rebelling, and Gong Sun Zan is leading troops to quell the rebellion. If we rashly demote him, the border will become unstable. Your Majesty, Viscount Yi Chun is extremely valiant. He annihilated 15,000 Wuhuan cavalry on a whim. This servant heard that Viscount Yi Chun killed 15,000 Wuhuan cavalry without suffering a single casualty. Who could have done this? Zhang Rang glanced at Lu Ji and said, He could have done it with the help of the terrain. Although this lowly subject is unable to confirm the circumstances, this lowly subject is certain that Viscount Yi Chun must have used the terrain to his advantage. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to not suffer a single casualty. Lu Ji explained, not to be outdone. All of you shut up. Father, tell me, is Yi Chun truly so valiant that he can wipe out the rebellion for us? Lu Hong angrily roared and then turned to Zhang Rang. This? Zhang Rang was momentarily stumped. If he said yes, then what if Yi Chun couldn't do it? He would lose a great deal of face. If he said no, then he would be slapping himself in the face. After some thought, Zhang Rang clenched his teeth and firmly said, This servant feels that this boy can do even better than Gong Sun Zan. Many of the civil and military officials in the court immediately revealed looks of disdain. Damn, I've already told you everything. Why don't you just say yes or no? Zhang Rang naturally saw the gazes of all the civil and military officials, but his expression did not change in the slightest. Lu Hong nodded in satisfaction and then said, "Call Yi Chen over. We want to see the treasure he brought us." "Yes, your majesty." Zhang Rang bowed and replied. He then looked at the entrance of the court and screamed, "Summon Viscount Yi Chen of Reincarnation Town. Enter the palace." The eunuch on duty at the entrance bowed and then hurriedly ran out of the palace. At the entrance of the imperial city, creak, a sound was heard. Yi Chen exhaled and then looked at the entrance of the city. A eunuch hurriedly ran out. When he saw Yi Chen, he asked, "You are Viscount Yi Chen of Reincarnation Town?" Yi Chen nodded and said, "Yes." Although this was the second time that Yi Chen had heard a eunuch speak, he still felt a little awkward. "Quickly follow me into the palace. Her Majesty summons you." After the eunuch finished speaking, he hurriedly led Yi Chen into the palace. At the main hall of the palace, after Yi Chen followed the eunuch here, he walked into the main hall alone. When Yi Chen arrived at the main hall, all the cultural relics looked at him. Among them, there was hatred, expressionless, and curiosity. There was nothing else. When Yi Chen saw this, he couldn't help but secretly sigh in relief. His plan succeeded. He didn't have to worry about any stigma. Thinking of this, Yi Chen bowed and said, "Yi Chen greets Her Majesty. Long live Her Majesty. Long live Her Majesty." When Lu Hong saw Yi Chen's youthful appearance, he couldn't help but be stunned. He then said, "What a talent." "Viscount Yi Chen, where is Her Majesty's treasure? Quickly present it." Zhang Rang looked at Yi Chen and said, "Here." Yi Chen smiled and said. After speaking, he waved his right hand and a sandalwood box instantly appeared in Yi Chen's hand. "Quickly, quickly present it." When Lu Hong saw the sandalwood box in Yi Chen's hand, his eyes suddenly lit up and he shouted. Zhang Rang smiled flatteringly and then hurriedly walked down the stairs. He came to Yi Chen and took the sandalwood box from Yi Chen's hand. In order to prevent any danger, Zhang Rang first opened it and checked it. At this moment, the originally dim main hall suddenly became as bright as day. An incomparably comfortable feeling instantly rose in everyone's heart. When Zhang Rang saw the fist-sized luminous pearl in the box, he smiled slightly, but quickly returned to normal. After glancing at Yi Chen, Zhang Rang expressionlessly carried the sandalwood box up the stairs and then handed it to Lu Hong. Chapter 85. All the officials looked at the box in Lu Hong's hands. More than 80% of them were curious, while the rest were shocked. Even the bad-tempered officials were no exception. This was because the moment Zhang Rang opened the box, not only did it light up the entire hall, but it also made everyone feel very comfortable. Lu Hong took the sandalwood box and opened it. In the next second, Lu Hong was stunned. All the officials were also stunned. It wasn't that no one had ever seen a night-luminescent pearl before. Although it was rare, it wasn't an extraordinary treasure. But the night-luminescent pearl in the sandalwood box only revealed the tip of the iceberg, displaying its extraordinariness. Ordinary night-luminescent pearls couldn't be seen in broad daylight, so they had to wait until nighttime. But this night-luminescent pearl was not only big, but it could also shine in broad daylight and illuminate the dimly lit hall. But its light wasn't dazzling at all. Not only that, the moment the sandalwood box was opened, the comfortable feeling that disappeared when the box was closed appeared again. Good, good, good. Lu Hong's eyes lit up as he looked at the enormous night-luminescent pearl in the sandalwood box. At this moment, Lu Hong was extremely excited because he had never seen such a treasure before. But that wasn't important. What was important was that this treasure was not only big, but it could also shine in broad daylight. It also gave Lu Hong a comfortable feeling. As the emperor, Lu Hong had eaten all kinds of delicacies and supplements. But even so, he still felt as if his body had been hollowed out. And at this moment, Lu Hong actually felt his energy slowly recovering. Ha ha ha, such a rare treasure should belong to me. Lu Hong picked up the enormous night-luminescent pearl and shouted excitedly. Zhang Rang glanced at Yi Chun and then asked Lu Hong in shock, "Your Majesty, why do I feel that this item can prolong one's life?" That is indeed the case. This emperor also has the same feeling. Lu Hong nodded excitedly. After Lu Hong said this, he looked at Yi Chun. Lu Hong, who wasn't very close to Yi Chun, suddenly found Yi Chun pleasing to the eye. Just as he opened his mouth to give Yi Chun a high-ranking official, Lu Hong's heart ached. Because of this, he wouldn't be able to earn any money. However, Yi Chun had given him such a good treasure, so he couldn't refuse. After thinking for a moment, Lu Hong opened his mouth and said, "Yi Chun, you have contributed greatly by offering us such a rare treasure. Add to that the 100,000 some bandits and the 15,000 Wuhuan cavalry that you exterminated, and we will give you any official position you want. Your Majesty, everything under the heavens belongs to your Majesty. Yi Chun does not dare to claim credit. Your Majesty is in charge." Yi Chun bowed and said, "Good. Everything under the heavens belongs to us." Yi Chun, your words have won us over. Today, we will make you General of Jinwei. Lu Hong was taken aback for a moment, and then he laughed heartily. Yi Chun's eyes flickered after hearing this. Yi Chun had thought that he would be made a deputy general at most, but he hadn't expected to be made General of Jinwei. Although General of Jinwei was a surplus general, it was still a fourth-rank official. A fifth-rank official, like a deputy general, could not compare to it. Just when Yi Chun was about to give his thanks, a shout suddenly rang out. "Your Majesty, you must not." Yi Chun frowned and looked out of the corner of his eye. It was Yi Jin, who had stepped forward with an unsightly expression and was trying to stop Lu Hong from bestowing a reward. Why not? Lu Hong was in a good mood when someone suddenly appeared to cause trouble. Naturally, he was in a bad mood. "Reporting to your Majesty, although Yi Chun is a meritorious noble, he has no experience as an official. In addition, he is still young. If you rashly make him General of Jinwei, I'm afraid that the generals in the army will not accept it." He Jin said sincerely, "Your Majesty, generals in the army can only be promoted if they have meritorious service in battle. This humble subject does not quite understand. Since when does a general in the army need experience as an official?" Lu Ji frowned and glanced at Yi Jin. Then he stepped forward and bowed. Zhang Rang's eyes flashed, and then he looked at Lu Hong with a puzzled expression and said, "General Lu is right. This servant also finds it strange. Since when does a general in the army need experience as an official? Isn't it enough to lead troops in a battle?" When He Jin heard this, his expression changed again and again. His body trembled violently because of his anger. "He Jin, get out of here. Go home and face the wall for half a month. In addition, you have 1 day to hand over 50,000 purple gold coins. Otherwise, just wait for us to seize your house and exterminate your clan." Lu Hong suddenly stood up and angrily roared, "Your Majesty, calm your anger." When Great General spoke of an official, he didn't mean a civil official, but a military official. Wang Yun stepped forward and shouted, "Your Majesty." This lowly subject was speaking of a military official. "Your Majesty." This lowly subject truly had no other meaning. He Jin hastily bowed and shouted back, "Good, you said a military official. Then let us ask you, how do you explain Yi Chun leading troops in a battle, exterminating more than 100,000 bandits, and wiping out 15,000 Wuhuan cavalry without suffering a single wound? Does he have any experience? Can he be a general?" Lu Hong roared, his face ashen. "He can. Your Majesty, Yi Chun can be a general. This lowly subject is just worried that Yi Chun is too young and will easily become arrogant, Your Majesty." He Jin hastily said, "Enough. Get out of here. If you can't hand over 100,000 purple gold coins tonight, you can commit suicide." Lu Hong was even angrier when he heard this and shouted without hesitation, Your Majesty." Yi Jin's face stiffened as he shouted in terror, Don't say anything else. We don't want to hear another word from you. If you dare to say another word, the fine will be increased tenfold. Lu Hong angrily roared. Yi Jin instantly aged 10 years when he heard this. F*CK. That was 100,000 purple gold coins, which was equivalent to 1 billion gold coins. How could he possibly take out tonight? However, he didn't dare to speak. He bowed and staggered out of the hall. Yi Chen narrowed his eyes as he watched Yi Jin leave. This Yi Jin had really offended him this time, but it didn't matter. He wouldn't be able to jump around for long, and he wouldn't get in my way. With this thought, Yi Chen glanced at the white-haired Wang Yun. His eyes flashed with cold light for a moment before returning to normal. Lu Hong glanced at Yi Jin in disgust and then shouted, "Don't be so stupid. Pass on decree. Viscount of the Great Han Empire, Yi Chen has made illustrious military achievements and rendered meritorious service to the country. He is hereby conferred the title of third-rank general who pacifies the North." Chapter 86. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for his outstanding military exploits. He has been promoted to General Pacifying North of the Great Han Empire. Rank 3 official. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for his outstanding military exploits. He has been promoted to General Pacifying North of the Great Han Empire. Rank 3 official. Ding. Congratulations to player Yi Chen for his outstanding military exploits. He has been promoted to General Pacifying North of the Great Han Empire. Rank 3 official. After a night of silence, the world announcement sounded again. This time, the world announcement was different from the past. It was like a drop of water in a pot of boiling oil. The world channel instantly exploded. F*CK. Boss Yi Chen is awesome. Boss Yi Chen is mighty and domineering. Boss Yi Chen is invincible. Ha. Now you know how awesome my cousin is. Let me tell you, my cousin Yi Chen has even more awesome things that he hasn't shown yet. F*CK. Scum, hurry up and count on my cousin. My cousin Yi Chen is the best. You have to be convinced. A bunch of idiots. What does Yi Chen have to do with you? He's my brother. F*CK. I'll ask my brother to bring me to Wang Yun's house to see Jiao Chan later. F*CK. You bunch of scum. Can you not be so cocky? What does Yi Chen have to do with you? Idiots, go home and sleep. F*CK. You don't even know how to talk about serious matters. Didn't you see General Pacifying North? He's a genuine rank 3 official. F*CK. I don't know what to say anymore. Has anyone obtained an official position now? No, right? Then why did Yi Chen become a rank 3 General Pacifying North? F*CK. What outstanding military exploits? What military exploits did Yi Chen achieve? This is F*King unfair. Can the game be more fair? That's right. Do you still want us to play happily? F*CK. Rank 3 official. He's rank 3 official now. F*CK. You have to give me an explanation. If you don't, I won't play this game anymore. Right? You have to give us an explanation. If you don't, we won't play anymore. I'm not playing +1. Not playing +10086. I think I saw an idiot. Not playing? Do you think anyone will care? Don't forget what this damned world has become. Don't forget that everything in the real world is provided by the AI. Don't you want to play? Are you trying to make me laugh to death so that you can inherit my fortune? What's the point of caring about these idiots? Those who say they're not playing just want to ask the AI to come out and explain and then ask for some compensation. Unfortunately, being a retard is an illness and there's no medicine to cure it. It would be great if Smart Brain cared about this. Unfortunately, Smart Brain doesn't care about this. But speaking of which, did Yi Chen come to Luoyang for this third-grade General Pacifying North? Right now, I just want to know how Yi Chen obtained the rank of rank 3 General Pacifying North. I also want to know, F*CK. If you become an official, you can have unlimited troops. Aren't you afraid of being labeled as a traitor? Unlimited my ass. Do you think that being an official allows you to casually send out troops? There's a limit to being mentally retarded. Yi Chen, I'm XXX. I'm officially informing you to come to Luoyang's Uli and to find me. If you don't come, you'll have to bear the consequences. Yi Chun, the League of Tyrants sincerely invites you to join us. The position of League Leader is waiting for you. As long as you're willing to come, you can have anything you want. All right, do you know about the gaming capsule? As long as you're willing to come, the gaming capsule of the League of Tyrants is yours. Blood Romance sincerely invites Big Brother Yi Chun to join us. We have school beauties, models, celebrities, everything. As long as Big Brother Yi Chun is willing to come, you'll be our boss. The Iron Blood Hero Group sincerely invites Brother Yi Chun to join us. As long as you're willing to come, we can discuss anything. The World Channel was extremely lively. Some pretended to be Yi Chun's relatives and pretended to be pretentious. Some are envious and jealous. Some are trying their best to rope him in regardless of their losses. Most of them were openly and secretly threatening Yi Chun. This was because Yi Chun's body was still in the real world. In the real world, it was inevitable that he would be discovered. And this was the reason why some of the forces had the confidence to threaten Yi Chun directly. However, these forces did not know that Yi Chun was not in the safe city that the AI, Pangu, had built for 3 months. Luoyang Palace. When Yi Chun heard the system's notification, his eyes widened. F*CK. Primary rank 3. Yi Chun would never have thought that Lu Hong's position would not be the rank for miscellaneous general, General Jinwei. Instead, it was a primary rank 3, general pacifying the north. Primary rank 3 had an upper limit of 300,000 soldiers. But for Yi Chun, it was enough. Moreover, with this position, Yi Chun would not have to worry about Gong Sun Zan, who had not yet risen to prominence. Originally, Yi Chun had planned to plot against Gong Sun Zan. But now, even if Gong Sun Zan successfully quelled the rebellion according to history and became a secondary general, it would not affect Yi Chun at all. That was because Gong Sun Zan was a rank 4 secondary general, which could not even be compared to a rank 4 miscellaneous general. Not to mention Yi Chun, who was a primary rank 3 general pacifying the north. General pacifying the north. Why aren't you thanking His Majesty? Zhang Reng looked at Yi Chun with shining eyes and shouted with a smile on his face. This subject, General pacifying the north, Yi Chun, thanks Your Majesty for the reward. Long live the Emperor! Long live the Emperor! Yi Chun came back to his senses and hurriedly bowed to Lu Hong with great excitement. General pacifying the north, we will leave Yuzhou to you. Remember, you must exterminate the rebels for us. We will give you the authority to act at your discretion, Lu Hong said with a laugh. Lu Hong was very satisfied with Yi Chun's excitement. Originally, Lu Hong had planned to give Yi Chun the title of a secondary rank 4 general. But after being infuriated by He Qi, Lu Hong also became angry. In addition, he was extremely satisfied with the heavenly treasures that Yi Chun had given him. So he simply gave Yi Chun the primary rank 3 general pacifying the north. Hearing this, Yi Chun's eyes suddenly lit up. Acting at his discretion was not a great reward, but for Yi Chun, it was extremely valuable. With this, Yi Chun could dispatch troops at will without consulting anyone. He only needed to use the banner of quelling the rebellion. Thinking of this, Yi Chun hurriedly bowed and said, "This humble subject obeys Your Majesty's command." "Good. We'll give you 3 months. You must catch all the Yuzhou rebels in one fell swoop." Lu Hong nodded in satisfaction and said. The moment Lu Hong spoke, all of the civil and military officials were stunned. Then, they looked at Yi Chun with gazes that were a little different than usual. Chapter 87. Yi Chun naturally noticed the strange looks in the eyes of all the officials. Yi Chun didn't even need to guess what they were thinking. Quelling the rebellion in 3 months was simply impossible. Of course, this was what all the officials were thinking. But to Yi Chun, quelling the rebellion was very simple. Yi Chun wasn't a native of this world. He was a player who had been reborn. At this moment, he had close to 50,000 soldiers. Among them, There was also the only special force that could infinitely advance, the Samsara Legion. If he wanted war horses, he had war horses. If he wanted military generals, he had the first-rate historical general, Dienwei. If he wanted military strategists, he had the first-rate historical civil official, Guojia. More importantly, Samsara Town had 15,000 ballistae. These ballistae were even more powerful than catapults when it came to attacking cities. Even without these ballistae, Yichen still had a way to attack cities and wipe out the rebellion. 3 months was enough time. This was also the restriction to becoming General Pacifying North. If Yichen couldn't complete this task, his position would be revoked. He might even be punished or imprisoned. Yichen knew this, but Yichen wasn't afraid. As you command. Yichen nodded solemnly and bowed. Good. I didn't misjudge you. Lu Hong couldn't help but laugh when he saw that Yichen didn't want to negotiate. Your Majesty, this humble subject still has to quell the rebellion. Time is of the essence, so this humble subject will take his leave. Yichen bowed again and then spoke. Go, General Pacifying North. Remember, I want to hear news in 3 months. Lu Hong nodded and then spoke. Zhang Rang, who was standing beside Lu Hong, had a conflicted look on his face. He had originally thought that he would be able to rope in a military general, but now it seemed like he might have shot himself in the foot. 3 months. Unless an immortal had descended, how else could the rebellion be wiped out in such a short period of time? Yichen naturally saw Zhang Rang's incomparably conflicted expression, but Yichen did not say anything. Towards a great eunuch like Zhang Rang, especially in court, even eye contact was not allowed. Otherwise, everything Yichen had done before would be in vain if someone noticed something. Thinking of this, Yichen bowed to Lu Hong and said, This humble subject will take his leave. After Yichen finished speaking, he walked out of the main hall. All of the officials shook their heads helplessly. At this moment, even those historical generals, such as Lu Ji, were not optimistic about Yichen. Quelling the rebellion in Yuzhou in 3 months was harder than ascending to the heavens. Luoyang, happy arrival in. There was a sea of people on the streets. There were the leaders of various small forces and countless curious players. After all, there was going to be an auction here, and it was going to be auctioned off king level cultivation techniques and black level weapons. At this moment, the leaders of the various large forces were all sitting in the main hall, quietly waiting for the NPC in Sky A1 to come out and start the auction. However, the topic of discussion was surprisingly consistent. The topic was Yichen. I wonder where this Yichen is now. No one has seen him before. Even if they meet face to face, they might not be able to recognize him. Don't have any ideas about Yichen. Our Yanwang base wants Yichen. Tisk, you're still using your previous identity to fool around? Let me tell you, don't even think about it. In this world, whoever has the bigger fist has the right to speak. Just as the leaders of the various forces were talking, a cry of surprise rang out. It's that NPC. Why is he back from outside? As soon as these words were spoken, everyone looked at Yichen and then stepped aside to let Yichen pass. Yichen ignored all the gazes and walked straight to the counter of the happy arrival inn. He threw a gold coin to the waiter and then borrowed the counter. Before the auction, I'd like to ask if anyone has any elixirs for sale. Yichen glanced at the leaders in the hall, then turned to the door and asked, Spiritual herbs? I have one. How much are you buying? Let's make it clear first. I won't sell it if it's too little. It took me a lot of effort to get it with the lives of so many people. One person looked at Yichen and asked. Yichen's eyes lit up as he said, starting from 100,000 gold. I'll calculate the price based on your spiritual herb. All right, take a look. How much is this spiritual herb worth? 200,000 gold. Yichen took a look and then said, All right, I'll sell it to you. After the person finished speaking, he squeezed through the crowd and came into the shop, handing over the spiritual herb. Yichen casually took the spiritual herb and placed 20 purple coins on the table. The person's eyes lit up as he took the 20 purple coins. He was the leader of a small force and had obtained this spiritual herb by chance. Naturally, he was happy to be able to earn 200,000 gold for free. Yichen couldn't be bothered to care how this person obtained this spiritual herb. Once people discovered the benefits of this spiritual herb, the price would skyrocket. This spiritual herb that Yi Zichen had set a price of 200,000 gold would soon rise to 20 million gold. Holy shit! A spiritual herb is worth 200,000 gold? Motherf asterisk Kerr, we're rich. If asterisk king regret it. I saw a spiritual herb on a cliff before. It must be a spiritual herb. A person squeezed through the crowd and came in front of Yi Chun. He took out a spiritual herb and handed it to Yi Chun. I have one here. Take a look and see how much it's worth. After Yi Chun took it, he glanced at it and said, 500,000 gold. After Yi Chun said that, he took out 50 purple coins and placed them on the counter. Me, I have some too. The person's eyes lit up and he rushed into the shop. He took out some spiritual medicine and handed it over to Yi Chun. 1 million gold. Yi Chun raised his eyebrows and said. He then took out 100 purple coins and placed them on the counter. I have some too. The surrounding players were instantly provoked. One by one, they sold the spiritual herbs in their hands to Yi Chun. Yi Chun did not reject anyone. Only after he had spent 20 million gold and no one else made a bid did Yi Chun stop purchasing. He didn't buy a lot, only 32 spiritual herbs. However, the value of these herbs was far more than 1 billion gold. Moreover, these 32 spiritual herbs were enough to help Yi Chun break through to the king level and advance to the emperor level. This was the purpose of Yi Chun buying spiritual herbs. He wanted to quickly increase his strength. Chapter 88. Just as Yi Chun was about to auction off the 2 pieces of trash, a voice suddenly sounded. Sir, I would like to ask you a question. Is that all right? Yi Chun frowned and looked at the person who spoke. It was a middle-aged man wearing a brocade robe and a crown. At first glance, one would think that he was a native of this world. However, the aura he exuded was completely different from the natives of this world. This was a person who wanted to pretend to be a native so that he could blend in with the natives of this world. His idea was good, but unfortunately, he was destined to be a dog instead of tiger. The natives of this world were very accurate when it came to players. No matter how well one pretended, it was useless. Moreover, even if the natives of this world thought that the players were on their side, they would not receive any preferential treatment. They would still do what they were supposed to do. If they wanted to obtain missions or gather information, there was only one outcome. It would be a waste of effort. Of course, no matter how well they pretended, they would not be as good as Yi Chun. Otherwise, Yi Chun would not be seen as an NPC until now. Of course, if Yi Chun did not advance to the innate stage, he would still be seen through. That was because Yi Chun would appear with a head of short hair. No one in this world had short hair. However, after advancing to the innate stage, Yi Chun's hair had grown longer. Thinking of this, Yi Chun asked expressionlessly, What do you want to ask? I want to know why you are buying spiritual herbs. Can you tell me? If you're willing to tell me, I will definitely thank you. The middle-aged man imitated the ancients and cupped his hands before speaking. As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, all the players looked at Yi Chun with anticipation. They all wanted to know why Yi Chun, this NPC, wanted to buy spiritual herbs. As for those who sold Yi Chun the spiritual herbs, they suddenly felt that they had been cheated. However, no one spoke. They were all waiting for Yi Chun's answer. To cook. Yi Chun glanced at the middle-aged man and said calmly. Yi Chun naturally lied. How could Yi Chun tell others what spiritual herbs were used for? It was possible for spirit herbs to appear in the market. Of course, these elixirs were all put up by the players. Sir, are you making fun of me? The middle-aged man frowned and asked. Yi Chun didn't answer the middle-aged man. He didn't even look at him as he said, Let's start the auction now. When the leaders of the various forces in the main hall of the Pleasant Arrival and heard this, they instantly became spirited. Although they were curious about the uses of spirit herbs, they also wanted to know the secrets of spirit herbs. However, the item being auctioned this time was even more important to them, especially that king-level cultivation technique. Many rich people, generals, commanders, and the like all wanted it. Because with a king-level cultivation technique, One could break through the Hodian realm and enter the Sciention realm, becoming a king-level general. The fact that one's strength in the game could be transformed into reality was enough to excite everyone. Therefore, they valued the king-level cultivation technique more. As for weapons, they were not that important. At least, they were not as attractive as king-level cultivation techniques. Yichen glanced at the leaders of the various forces in the main hall and said, "Before the auction starts, I need to tell you something." As soon as Yichen finished speaking, all the leaders of the various factions, as well as the onlookers on the streets, were stunned. They didn't know what Yichen was going to tell them. Why did he say it so solemnly? Just as everyone's attention was on him, Yichen said, "The weapons and cultivation techniques being auctioned this time all have the word true. Do you know the meaning behind the word true?" When the leaders of the various forces in the main hall heard this, they couldn't help but be stunned. Naturally, they didn't know the meaning behind the word true. Therefore, they were all very confused. However, they quickly revealed a pained expression. At this moment, the players on the street started shouting. They didn't care if they offended the NPC because they didn't have the money to participate in the auction. They were here to watch. F***CK. This NPC is too good at torturing people. Why don't he just say it directly? Why keep us in suspense? What's the use of the word true? Isn't it just an additional word? Who knows? But I have a feeling that the word true isn't that simple. When Yichen saw that he had kept them in suspense, he said, "The word true is a special item. Truth, equipment, is a special item. Not only can it be used in this world, it can also be used in your world. For example, weapons. If you have a truth weapon and want to use it in your world, you can just summon it." When Yichen finished speaking, whether it was the main hall of the Pleasant Arrival Inn or the street outside, it instantly became silent. The players looked at each other in bewilderment. Their faces were full of shock. It would be strange if they weren't shocked. This secret hadn't been discovered yet. "Sir, you're saying that the items you're auctioning are all items with the word true?" A player leader asked anxiously. Yichen nodded and said, "Since you already know the secret of the word true, let's begin the auction of the first item." When Yichen finished speaking, he waved his right hand, and the Thunderclap Spear, Dark Rank, True, appeared in Yichen's hand. Thunderclap Spear, Dark Rank, True, Sharpness 80. Increases the user's speed and strength by 30%. Additional skill, Thunderclap Strike. When Yichen finished speaking, he glanced at the player leaders in the main hall and said, "Thunderclap Strike. Thunderclap Strike can be activated in an instant. After activation, summon a bolt of lightning to attack the enemy. Starting price, 10 purple gold coins." When Yichen finished speaking, the entire hall was silent. After a few breaths, the player leaders' breathing became heavier. Their gazes towards the Thunderclap Spear became fervent. 100 purple gold coins. I'll take it. Take it my ass. 200 purple gold coins. 300 purple gold coins. 350 purple gold coins. The leaders of the various player factions began to madly bid for the Thunderclap Spear. The reason was simple. The Thunderclap Spear was a weapon with the word true. Moreover, it was a dark rank weapon. More importantly, the Thunderclap Spear's attributes were too powerful. It increased the user's speed and strength by 30%. It also had the additional skill, Thunderclap Strike. If they had the Thunderclap Spear, Dark Rank, True, their strength in the real world would increase by a lot. For the leaders of these player factions, the stronger they were, the more they could protect themselves and their interests. Therefore, the leaders of the various player factions began to fiercely bid for the Thunderclap Spear, Dark Rank, True. No one didn't want to become strong. No one didn't want to be awesome. Chapter 89. 2,000 purple coins. An angry roar was heard, and the Pleasant Arrival Inn's main hall instantly fell silent. After the person called out the price and saw that no one else was speaking, he couldn't help but smirk. 2,000 purple coins was equivalent to 20 million gold coins, which was 20 million credits. Although he was rich, he still had to consider whether 20 million was worth it. It was obvious that the person who called out 2,000 purple coins thought that his bid had shocked everyone else. Otherwise, he wouldn't be smiling. This was also a trick that he used to use when he participated in auctions. Moreover, it had been tried and tested time and time again because of his identity and also because of his determination to win. Just then, a disdainful voice was heard. 3,000 purple coins. F*CK. Who the F*CK are you? Do you know who I am? The young man who called out 2,000 purple coins was instantly enraged. Yo, isn't this young Master Huang? How's the director doing? The young man who called out 3,000 purple coins replied mockingly. Lu San, so it's you. You F*King want to compete with me? Young Master Huang's face was ashen as he shouted angrily. Why not? Idiot, do you think this is the same as before? Even if your father has 10,000 subordinates, so what? You're awesome, you can bring your men to me. If you dare to come, I'll call you father. If you don't, you'll call me father. How about it? Lu San said with disdain. You. Young Master Huang was instantly choked. The world had changed greatly, and the land had become a primeval forest. Ferocious beasts were everywhere, and some were beyond human understanding. Not only were they huge, but they were also abnormally ferocious. Some even grew scales comparable to steel. Every safe zone had a few people who wanted to go out and see the outside world, and some even wanted to hunt. However, these people who went out were mercilessly torn to pieces, and not even a speck of dust was left. After that, the former soldiers and security officers also began to explore the outside world. It was because of research and because of orders. There were all kinds of reasons, but the results were the same. They also left the safe zone to carry out all kinds of missions. However, the results were still the same. Soon, people discovered this frightening fact. Human cold weapons, such as crossbows, simple iron spears, or sharp alloy knives, were completely useless against the wild beasts outside. Most of the time, it could only break the skin and not the flesh. What was even more terrifying was that there were some special existences whose skin couldn't even be broken. Because of this, people became more and more fearful of the world outside the safe zone. This was also the reason why young Master Huang choked. No matter how powerful he was, no matter how many subordinates he had, he could only act arrogantly in the safe zone he was in. He did not dare to leave the safe zone at all. The leaders of the various forces in the hall looked at young Master Huang strangely. No matter how they looked at it, it was as though they were looking at a fool. Young Master Huang was instantly provoked. He had never been looked at like this before. However, at this moment, the bidding became intense again. 3,100 purple coins, 3,200 purple coins, 5,000 purple coins, 10,000 purple coins. Someone shouted in a deep voice, 20,000 purple coins. Everyone, please do me a favor. If you have any problems in the future, I will do my best to help. The middle-aged man who had asked Yi Chun about the elixir store said calmly. He had been silent for a long time and did not bid, but now he had offered a high price. This was because he had a feeling that a weapon that could be summoned in the real world was not simple. He even suspected that with this weapon, it could easily cause damage to the wild beasts outside. This was also the reason why he had offered such a high price in the first place. The outside world was simply too terrifying. Without something that could cause damage to the wild beasts, no one was confident. The leaders of the player forces in the pleasant arrival in's hall looked at each other. Then, they all shut up and stopped bidding. From their point of view, a mystic rank weapon with a price of 20,000 purple coins was already the limit. There was no need to fight for it. Even if they managed to get it, they would have to spend more money. Moreover, they would offend the middle-aged man with the surname phone. The gains would not make up for the losses. When the players on the street heard the bid of 20,000 purple coins, they were all stunned. Then, an uproar broke out. F*CK, 20,000 purple coins. That's 200 million credits. A piece of equipment, even a mystic rank weapon, isn't worth that much, right? Yeah, this is too much. It's not like you'll become Superman with it. Rich people are rich people. Damn it, why don't I have money? Yi Chun heard the discussions outside and raised his eyebrows. Then, he looked at the leaders of the various forces in the hall and said indifferently, "Everyone knows that there are some true rank weapons. I can see that everyone still has some doubts about the true equipment, so let me tell you a secret that I didn't tell you before." When Yi Chen's words fell, the leaders of the various player forces were all stunned. Then, they all looked at Yi Chen strangely. "Damn it, who's confused?" "No one's confused. You said it yourself. These are the thoughts of the leaders." Of course, no one would say it out loud, nor did they dare to say it out loud. This was because the king rank cultivation technique had yet to be auctioned, and also because they wanted to know the other secret of the true rank equipment. Yi Chen picked up the Thunder Crash spear, mystic rank true, and flicked it. A crisp dang sound immediately rang out. Sharpness. I've mentioned it before. Do you know the meaning of sharpness? Yi Chen's question piqued the curiosity of the leaders of the various player forces. Even the onlookers on the street quieted down. Yi Chen glanced at the players and continued, "If sharpness is sharp, it can break through the defense of the enemy. It doesn't matter if it's a beast or a ferocious beast. If sharpness exceeds 50, it can break through the defense of a demonic beast. I'm referring to the demonic beasts in your world." When Yi Chen's words fell, all the players sucked in a breath of cold air. This was because the information contained in Yi Chen's words was too great. Silence, very silence. Whether it was the pleasant inn or the street, it was terrifyingly quiet. No one spoke at this moment. After a long while, a leader of a player force asked respectfully, "Sir, please pardon me. When you mention demonic beasts, do you mean demonic beasts of the demonic race?" Yi Chen nodded and said indifferently, "Yes." There was nothing to hide. In at most half a month, the entire world would confirm the existence of the demonic race. And now, some people had already confirmed the existence of the demonic race. However, because of selfishness and benefits, they didn't announce this to the public. The sound of people sucking in cold air instantly rose and fell. This news was too shocking. How could they not be shocked? F***CK, the legendary goblin race, had actually appeared, and in the real world at that. Chapter 90. F***CK. I suddenly thought of something. Those three idiots who called themselves Godly Dog, Husky, Grandpa Pig, and Grandma Cat, could they be shifters? F***CK, that's possible. They can even speak in the world. What kind of existence are they? They should be shifters, F***CK. I even scolded them that day. F***CK. Didn't they say that after the founding of the country, animals are not allowed to become shifters? Why are there so many shifters now? The players on the street were talking one after another. Without exception, the content was all about the Demon Clan. Pleasant Inn. The leaders of the various player factions looked at each other. They could see the determination in each other's eyes. Oomph. Cold snorts came out of their mouths in unison. In the next second, 30,000 purple coins, 50,000 purple coins, 51,000 purple coins, 52,000 purple coins, 100,000 purple coins. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, suddenly stood up and shouted angrily. He, who had been pretending to be cultured, could no longer hold it in. He hated these people who were fighting with him for the weapon. Of course, he hated Yi Chen even more. F***CK, it was a good secret. You could have just kept his secret. Why did you have to say it out loud? Now, everyone was fighting with him for the weapon. He was filled with hatred, but he did not dare to say it out loud. He also did not dare to glare at Yi Chen. He could only vent his anger on the leaders of the various player factions. F***CK, 1 billion credits. F***CK, this price, it sounds so F***king exciting. Yeah, I can only see it on TV. Now, I'm seeing it with my own eyes. The onlookers on the street were discussing, but the leaders in the Pleasant Inn were all frowning. They were calculating their gains and losses. Should they continue to compete? After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the leaders all shut up and stopped bidding. When Yi Chen saw this, the corners of his mouth curled up. He then said, "Thunder Spear, black rank, genuine, 100,000 purple coins going once, The leaders of the various player factions continued to remain silent. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng's breathing became heavier. Thunderclap Spear, Xian Grade, Genuine, the only Xian Grade weapon with the word genuine, 100,000 purple coins going twice. The leaders of the player factions began to struggle. The middle-aged man with the surname Feng clenched his fist. Thundercrash Spear, Mystic Rank True. Yichen had just finished speaking when the leader of a player faction stood up and shouted, 100,100 purple coins. Yichen raised his eyebrows and looked at the middle-aged man, surnamed Feng. 200,000 purple coins. The middle-aged man with the surname Feng roared with an ashen face. All right, old Feng, you're the best. I'll let you have it, the leader of the player faction said. You F** king bastard. I won't forgive you. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, roared angrily. Old Feng, why can't you forgive me? You brought that thunderclap spear and came looking for me? Don't joke around. Do you have the guts to do that? I. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng's body began to tremble. It was obvious that he had been angered quite badly. Yichen curled his lips and said, Thundercrash Spear, Mystic Rank Genuine, 200,000 purple coins going once. No one spoke. Thundercrash Spear, Mystic Rank Genuine, 200,000 purple coins going twice. Still no one spoke. Thundercrash Spear, Mystic Rank Genuine, 200,000 purple coins going thrice. Yichen said, and looked at the middle-aged man, surnamed Feng. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, took a deep breath and exhaled. He walked to the counter and waved his hand. 2 large boxes appeared on the counter. Yichen glanced at them and grabbed them with his right hand. The 2 boxes instantly disappeared. Yichen looked at the 200,000 purple coins in his bag and nodded. He then handed the Thundercrash Spear to the middle-aged man with the surname Feng. The middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, took the spear and chose to bind it. After storing the Thundercrash Spear, the middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, looked at Yichen and said in a hoarse voice, Mister, please wait for a moment. These are my apologies. After he finished speaking, he took out 10,000 purple coins and placed them on the counter. Then he chose to go offline. Yichen put away the 10,000 purple coins and closed his eyes. Mister, hurry up and auction the king-level cultivation technique. At this moment, a player leader respectfully advised. Yes, Mister, hurry up and auction it. We still have things to do. Don't worry, the price will definitely satisfy you. Hurry up and bid, Mister. As long as you bid now, we'll each give you 1,000 purple coins. How about it? In the pleasant arrival inn, the leaders of the various player factions all tried to persuade Yichen to continue the auction. Unfortunately, Yichen ignored them. What a joke. How could Yichen not wait for the middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, to start the auction? With him around, the auction for the king-level cultivation technique would be even more intense. This guy had already been provoked by the leaders of the other player factions, especially the one who had purposely raised the price. When a person lost their cool, they would often be swayed by their emotions and even make stupid decisions. And for Yichen, the more the better. The more the king-level cultivation technique, the more Yichen would earn. In his previous life, the first black-level weapon with the word true was only sold for 10,000 purple coins. And Yichen's current price was 200,000 purple coins. Only Yichen himself knew how much profit he had made. So, Yichen was very happy at this moment. Of course, this was also related to the fact that the players had just found out about the secret of the true equipment. However, this was also done by Yichen on purpose. So, Yichen had profited greatly. Of course, rich people rarely lost their minds, but Yichen firmly believed in one thing. That was, after the middle-aged man, surnamed Feng, went offline to test the Thunder Spear, he would want the king-level cultivation technique, mountain shaking art, more than anyone else. Because the king-level cultivation technique, mountain shaking art, also had the word true in it. After learning the mountain shaking art, king-level, true, one could cultivate it in the real world. Simply put, the mountain shaking art, king-level, true, was a cultivation technique that could be used in the real world. This was much more practical than using fists, legs, or weapons to fight blindly. Chapter 91. As time passed, the leaders of the various player factions gave up on trying to persuade Yi-chun. They realized that Yi-chun was as smart as a ghost and wasn't easy to fool. Damn, the price had already been raised to 10,000 purple gold per person. Yet Yi-chun, this damned NPC, still wasn't going to start the auction. 3 minutes later, the middle-aged man with the surname Feng suddenly appeared in the Pleasant Arrival Inn. When he came online again, he was no longer angry. Instead, he was pleasantly surprised. It was obvious that he had tested the Thundercrash spear, and the results were surprisingly good. It was so good that it exceeded his expectations. "Sir, this is a small token of my appreciation." The middle-aged man with the surname Feng took out another 10,000 purple gold and placed it on the counter without hesitation. Yi-chun raised his eyebrows and took the 10,000 purple gold. Then he looked at the leaders of the various player factions in the Pleasant Arrival Inn's hall and said calmly, "Now, let's start the auction for the last item." As soon as Yi-chun finished speaking, the leaders of the various player factions all perked up. This king-tier cultivation technique was the item that they valued the most. This was related to breaking through the realm barrier and entering the innate realm. Yi-chun waved his right hand, and the mountain shaking art, king-tier, true, appeared in his hand. I mentioned the characteristics of items with the word true before, and this mountain shaking art, king-tier, true, is also an item with the word true. As soon as Yi-chun finished speaking, it instantly caused a commotion. Damn. Does this NPC mean that cultivation techniques with the word true can also be brought into the real world and used? That must be it. Damn, didn't he say that items with the word true can be brought into the real world? Cultivation techniques are used to practice, so they can definitely be used in the real world. Damn, doesn't this mean that after learning this king-tier cultivation technique, I'll become even more powerful in the real world? That must be it. Damn, I also want a king-tier cultivation technique with the word true. Damn, why don't I have money? The players on the street stared at Yi-chun's quaking mountain technique, king-tier, true, with bloodshot eyes. If they weren't in a city, they would have already started fighting for it. In the main hall of the Pleasant Arrival Inn, the leaders of the various player factions were all looking at the mountain shaking art, king-tier, true, in Yi-chun's hand. "Sir, I would like to confirm one thing. Can this truth cultivation method really be used in our world?" One of the leaders tried his best to calm his agitated emotions before looking at Yi-chun and asking. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone quieted down. At this moment, they wanted to hear the exact answer from Yi-chun. Before this, it was all just their speculation. Although they subconsciously believed that it was the truth. But now, everyone wanted to hear an accurate answer. Yi-chun smiled and nodded. "That's right, the truth cultivation method can also be used in your world." Huh. The players were boiling with excitement. F*CK. F*CK. This means that regardless of the level of the cultivation method, as long as it has the word truth, it can be used in the real world. Why didn't I type out the truth cultivation method? Yi-chun listened to the players' heated discussions and smirked. He then looked at the leaders of the various player factions in the main hall and said, "Mountain shaking art, king-tier, true. After using it, you can condense innate true chi and advance to the innate realm. Characteristics: increases physical strength. There are a total of 9 levels. Each level increases strength by 10%. When Yi-chun said this, he paused for a moment before continuing. The auction starts now. The starting price is 100,000 purple gold coins. The price that Yi-chun mentioned was actually the price of the first Truth King tier cultivation method in his previous life. Yi-chun wasn't worried that he wouldn't be able to sell it. In order to maximize the price of the item, Yi-chun revealed the secret of the Truth item a few days in advance. This way, the leaders of the player factions were excited. A King tier cultivation method was related to advancing to the innate realm. Not to mention, a truth cultivation method could be used in the real world. With the two added together, it would be strange if they didn't buy it. 200,000 purple gold coins. Someone shouted without hesitation. 300,000 purple gold coins. 310,000 purple gold coins. 320,000 purple gold coins. The leaders of the various player factions all shouted crazily as they vied with each other. At this moment, Feng Zhongni, who had been waiting for a long time, shouted without hesitation, 100,000 purple gold coins. As soon as he said this, the faces of the leaders of the other player factions changed. Feng, aren't you afraid that you'll die from eating too much? The person who had messed with Feng Zhongni said with a gloomy face. If you have the money, then bid. If you don't, then don't show off. Do you understand? Feng Zhongni coldly looked at the person and said, just you wait. In the real world, I can't do anything. In the game, don't think that you'll have an easy time. When I return, I'll gather my troops and conquer your trash territory. I'll raze your lousy village to the ground. The person roared with a ferocious face. I'll wait for you, Feng Zhongni said coldly. Yichen looked at the two people indifferently. What would they do? Even if they died in the real world, Yichen didn't care. Dong dong. Yichen knocked on the counter and looked at the leaders of the player factions in the hall. He asked, is there anyone else who wants to bid? As soon as Yichen said this, the hall fell silent. Silence, very silence. The leaders of the player factions all clenched their fists and didn't say anything. Clearly, the 1 million purple gold coins that Feng Zhongni had offered had greatly exceeded their budget. However, they really wanted the mountain-shaking art, King Tier Truth. All of a sudden, they were caught in a dilemma. If they wanted it, they would have to pay more money. If they didn't want it, the mountain-shaking art, King Tier Truth, that was right in front of them would fly into someone else's pocket. Yichen waited for a moment, then raised his eyebrows and said, mountain-shaking art, King Tier Truth, 1 million purple gold coins going once. No one answered. Mountain-shaking art, King Tier Truth, 1 million purple gold coins going twice. Still, no one answered. However, the faces of the leaders of the player factions all turned uglier and uglier. Mountain-shaking art, King Tier Truth, 1 million purple gold coins going thrice. Yichen looked at Feng Zhongni. Sir, I'll pay immediately. The man surnamed Feng was straightforward. After he finished speaking, he went straight to the counter and took out box after box of purple gold coins. The corner of Yichen's mouth curled up as he started to collect boxes of purple coins. After collecting 10 boxes of purple gold coins, Yichen looked at the 1 million purple gold coins in his bag and nodded in satisfaction. At this moment, Yichen was very happy. A last-minute decision to auction off trash had now brought Yichen a huge fortune. Yichen's net worth instantly exceeded 10 billion credits and reached 2 billion credits. Chapter 92. With this money, he would be able to purchase those precious materials. It wouldn't be difficult to build the Copper Sparrow Pavilion. Thinking of this, Yichen felt even better. Then he handed the mountain quake technique, King Level, True, to Mr. Feng. After Mr. Feng received it, he chose to learn it without hesitation. A ball of light instantly rose and flew towards Mr. Feng's head. A few seconds later, Mr. Feng opened his eyes and laughed wildly. Ha ha! Indeed, there's a clear cultivation method. Once he finished speaking, the eyes of the players on the street turned even redder. F***CK, it's true. There's a clear cultivation method. It can definitely be used in real life. F***CK. Why did he learn it so quickly? It would be better if he learned it slowly. This way, I would have a chance to kill him. F***CK. Don't you know who he is? You dare to kill him? Aren't you afraid of being hunted down to level 0? What's there to be afraid of? If I get the king level martial arts, I'll still be awesome even if I'm hunted down to level 0. Idiot, didn't you see that he learned it? The players on the street were all envious. Unfortunately, they couldn't do anything about it. Mr. Feng had used the mountain quake technique, King Level, True, on the spot. Happy arrival in main hall. Phew, phew, a series of sighs could be heard. The leaders of the various player factions had all returned to normal. Things were already set in stone. There was no point in thinking about it. No one would have thought that Mr. Phone would be willing to spend such a large sum of money to buy the king-level martial arts and mystique-level weapon. The auction had ended. Yichen naturally wouldn't stay there any longer. He headed straight for the second floor. "Sir, please wait." At this moment, a shout was heard. Yichen stopped in his tracks and turned his head. It was a young man. "I've always had a question. Sir, please enlighten me." The young man saw that Yichen had stopped in his tracks and immediately asked, "One question and 10 stalks of spiritual herbs." Yichen raised his eyebrows and said. The young man's expression changed when Yichen finished speaking. Yichen curled his lips in disdain and went upstairs again. "I also want to ask a question," a middle-aged man with a dignified face suddenly said. After he finished speaking, he took out 10 spirit herbs and gestured to Yichen. Yichen raised an eyebrow. Then he walked up to the middle-aged man and took away the 10 spiritual medicines. The middle-aged man stared closely into Yichen's eyes. After a while, he opened his mouth and asked, "In our world, the people of this world wouldn't know the exact situation, but Mr. knows. If I'm not wrong, Mr. is a player, right?" As soon as the middle-aged man finished speaking, the leaders of the surrounding player factions waited quietly for an answer. The others were stunned for a moment before realization dawned on them. Although the NPCs in this world knew that the players came from another world, they didn't know the specific situation of the player's world. At the thought of this, the expressions of the leaders of the player forces changed without exception. F*CK, so I've been played like a monkey. Yichen looked at the middle-aged man playfully and said, "I am Yichen." Yichen didn't intend to continue hiding anything. The reason was simple. Although Yichen acted like a native of this world, he wasn't actually a native of this world. Therefore, there were many loopholes. As long as someone was a little more attentive, they would be able to discover that something was wrong with Yichen. Since the middle-aged man asked Yichen this question, it was obvious that he had already confirmed that Yichen was a player. He didn't ask before because there was still an auction. Now that the auction was over, it was impossible for him not to ask. He asked if Yichen was a player because he suspected that Yichen was the legendary Great God. Only the legendary Great God would be able to obtain king-level cultivation techniques and mystic-level weapons that others didn't have. Only the Great God would know many secrets that others didn't know. Yichen naturally knew what the middle-aged man was thinking. As for continuing to hide, there was no need for that. It wasn't a big deal to admit it openly. If he continued to act like a fool, Yichen wouldn't have the confidence to do so. "What? You are really Yichen?" The middle-aged man was stunned for a moment before he asked in surprise. Although he had already guessed Yichen's identity, he still couldn't confirm it. He originally thought that Yichen would deny it. Then, he specially prepared a set of excuses to continue tricking Yichen. But who would have thought that Yichen didn't intend to hide it at all and admit it openly? This was beyond his expectations. "Yes, you didn't hear wrong. I am Yichen." Yichen raised his eyebrows and said. As soon as Yichen finished speaking, the onlookers on the street who had yet to leave were instantly in an uproar. F*CK. I was wondering why there would be an NPC who would take the initiative to auction equipment. I was still wondering. F*CK. So the NPC is Great God Yichen. F*CK. I've been in Luoyang for a day just to see Great God Yichen. I didn't expect to be kept in the dark all this time. A great god is indeed a great god. Look, the moment Boss Yichen made a move, he casually sold king-level cultivation techniques, mystic-level weapons, and items with the word true in them. Boss Yichen, are you taking a follower? I'm willing to be your follower. Boss Yichen, I'm your fan. Give me an autograph. Also, I could do anything for you. Just as the onlookers were shouting excitedly, a discordant voice was heard. F*CK. Yichen, you're finally willing to come out. Now that everyone is here, explain to us why you're hiding the secret of the game and not telling us the secret. As soon as this person finished speaking, the onlookers, who were still in a heated discussion, instantly quietened down. Yichen turned his head. The moment he saw the person who shouted, Yi-Chin narrowed his eyes and asked, "Are you an idiot?" Chapter 93. Are you King scolding me? The ferocious-looking man's expression changed as he asked in a deep voice, "It's obvious. Do you need me to repeat myself?" Yi-Chin shook his head helplessly and said, "You've got guts. You'd better not come out of Luoyang. Otherwise, I'll let you know that those who show off on the bulletin board every day will also be beaten into idiots." The ferocious-looking man glared at Yi-Chin ferociously and roared. Yi-Chin narrowed his eyes when he heard that. A strong, murderous aura instantly appeared. At that moment, a reprimand was heard. "What the CK are you showing off for? Get out of here." A young man walked out with a domineering look. He kicked the ferocious-looking man hard in the head. The ferocious-looking man fell flat on his face. CK, it's... He was lying on the ground, but he immediately got up and roared angrily. Halfway through his sentence, his pupils constricted. Young Master Lu, it's you." The ferocious-looking man was shocked when he saw the young man's appearance. He stammered. Young Master Lu scolded the ferocious-looking man with disdain. "Get lost. Why don't you take a look at who this is? Did you eat a bear's heart and leopard's guts? How dare you cause trouble for Yi-Chin? I'll give you 10 minutes to get out of Luoyang, and don't let me see you again. Otherwise, you can go to hell. You know which world I'm talking about." I'll leave now," the ferocious-looking man said. He quickly turned around and squeezed into the crowd before leaving. "Yi-Chin, it's better to meet you in person than to hear about you. Let me introduce myself. I'm Lu." Young Master Lu looked at Yi-Chin and said enthusiastically. However, before he could finish, he was interrupted by Yi-Chin. "Are you done with your act?" Yi-Chin glanced at young Master Lu and asked calmly. The moment Yi-Chin said that, young Master Lu's face froze. He then smiled awkwardly and asked, "Yi-Chin, why don't I understand what you're saying? I've seen a saying before. Do you want to know what it is?" Yi-Chin asked with a playful smile. "What is it?" Young Master Lu tried his best to put on a smile and asked, "Never argue with a pure idiot, because he will drag your IQ down to his level and then use his years of experience as an idiot to defeat you," Yi-Chin said indifferently. He didn't even look at young Master Lu as he turned around and walked up to the second floor of the inn. Looking at Yi-Chin's back, young Master Lu's face turned red and green. It was an ugly sight. CK. I only just realized it now. Mother Kerr, that idiot just now was just acting. That's for sure. Didn't you hear what Guru Yi-Chin said? Don't argue with a pure idiot. Guru Yi-Chin said it bluntly. Is he done with his act? He still refuses to admit it. Ha ha ha. I'm dying of laughter. So this kid is trying to worm his way into being friends with Guru Yi-Chin. No, he's trying to make Guru Yi-Chin feel touched and even grateful. Then, he'll ask Guru Yi-Chin to follow him. Mother Kerr, this trick is really well played. This trick is very sinister, but Guru Yi-Chin is too awesome. He saw through it at a glance. Then, someone became an idiot. Mother Kerr, I have to admit that I was fooled just now. That idiot's acting was too real. The crowd of onlookers was talking one after another, and it was very lively. Yi-Chin, just you King wait for me. Young Master Lu listened to the surrounding players' comments. His expression turned ugly. Then, he roared at Yi-Chin ferociously. Yi-Chin stopped in his tracks. Without turning his head, he raised his right hand and clenched it into a fist. Then, he raised his middle finger. Puffed. Ha ha. A mother of Kerr, I'm dying of laughter. The surrounding crowd instantly burst into laughter. CK. Young Master Lu couldn't stay any longer. He cursed fiercely and turned to leave. You will lie in. Yi-Chin, since you're here, I'll inform you of something, the leader of a player faction said. Inform. Yi-Chin curled his lips in disdain and continued upstairs. Yi-Chin, the leader of the player faction, who was ignored, shouted angrily. However, Yi-Chin ignored him and continued upstairs. Yi-Chin, you got guts. Stop right there. The angry roar was heard again. However, Yi-Chin didn't stop. He continued upstairs step by step. However, halfway up, he gave the leader of the player faction a magnificent middle finger without turning his head. Mother asterisk cur. The leader of the player faction's face stiffened, and he cursed angrily. Comrade Yi-chun, please wait. A sigh was suddenly heard. Yi-chun raised his eyebrows, but he didn't stop. Comrade Yi-chun, you have to remember that you are an Asian and a member of this country. Don't forget about the greater good, because of your personal interests. His words were impassioned and full of righteousness. When Yi-chun heard this, he let out a long sigh. Just when everyone thought that Yi-chun was going to stop and return to discuss the secrets of the game world or join a certain faction, Yi-chun slowly raised his right hand. His magical right hand slowly clenched into a fist. Then, he slowly flicked his middle finger. Chapter 94. Yi-chun raised his middle finger again and again, causing the onlookers on the street to explode. F***CK. Boss Yi-chun is awesome. Did you see that? The two people who spoke are often on the news. I forgot their names, but that's not important. What's important is that Boss Yi-chun is too cool. F***CK. I finally understand one thing now. This world has really changed. Nonsense. It's a primeval forest outside. Playing games can increase one's strength in real life. How is that not changing? What he said is right. In this world, one's fist speaks. I don't understand. Isn't Boss Yi-chun in the safe city where these people are? Why are they looking at Boss Yi-chun without any scruples? You still don't understand? Don't forget, Yi-chun is at the innate realm. Do you know what the innate realm is? Although I don't know, I know that it must be very awesome. Even if he's awesome, he can't stop the crowd. Pleasant Inn. Yi-chun went up to the second floor and went straight back to Sky Room A1. He then closed the door. As for the leaders of the player factions downstairs, Yi-chun couldn't be bothered with them. How could Yi-chun not know what they were thinking? No faction would purely want to be on good terms with Yi-chun. They only wanted to rope him in, use him, suppress him, and control him. No matter how nicely they said it, no matter how dignified they were, they couldn't escape the word benefit. Yi-chun had seen too much of this in his previous life. Therefore, Yi-chun wouldn't care about these people. To Yi-chun, no matter what methods they used, as long as they hindered Yi-chun, they were enemies. Yi-chun would only choose one way to deal with his enemies, and that was to destroy them. In the lobby on the first floor, the leaders of the player factions all had ugly expressions on their faces. None of them expected Yi-chun to be so difficult to talk to. What was even more unexpected was that Yi-chun was not afraid of anyone. F***CK. When I log off, I'll look for this bastard in the safe cities. As long as I find him, I'll skin him alive. A leader of a player faction spat on the ground and said viciously, I've already memorized his appearance. In this world, no matter who logs in, their appearance will not change. When I go offline, I'll go look for him. As long as I find him, I'll have a good talk with him. You guys go ahead. I still have something to do. Goodbye. The leader of the player faction said and hurriedly left the inn. I'll take my leave too. Let's meet again in the future. Another person left. Soon, the leaders of the player forces left the inn one after another. They wanted to log off and investigate the safe city they were in. From her point of view, Yi-chun could not have survived alone outside the safe zone, because it was too dangerous outside. Danger lurked everywhere. Now that they had memorized Yi-chun's appearance, it would be easy to find Yi-chun again. Unfortunately, they still did not understand. Since Yi-chun dared to be so unyielding, he naturally had the confidence to be so. The onlookers on the streets naturally saw everything that happened in the inn. They also heard the conversation between the leaders of the player factions. They looked at each other and shook their heads helplessly. Sai, the awesome person who made countless world announcements, is going to be bullied just because he's showing off. It's still good to be bullied. I'm afraid he won't even be able to keep his life. To be honest, I'm quite impressed by Yi-chun. He went against the leaders of the other factions. Unfortunately, after all, there's still flesh and blood in the real world. A good dog can't fight against a pack of wolves. Not to mention, Yi-chun is just one person. He has to face the various factions. There's no way he can win. The players sighed and lamented because Yi Chun was still a person from the real world. Even if he was in the innate realm, it was impossible for him to be so strong that he could ignore the number of people. At least 99% of the players on the streets believed that Yi Chun would not be able to escape this calamity. Happy Lion, Sky Rume won. Yi Chun listened to the discussions from the players on the streets and could not help but smirk. What others thought was their freedom. Yi Chun would not interfere. There was no need to. Even if Yi Chun was really in a safe city, he was not afraid of anyone. Even if everyone in a safe city came to find trouble with Yi Chun would still take it to heart. No one could defend against the Khanate cardinal treasure, the Godslayer. The 9 Revolutions mystic art was a chaos-level cultivation method. When cultivated to great success, one could prove one's Tao with strength and have an unparalleled physical body. At this moment, even if Yi Chun was naked, he would not be hurt at all if someone slashed him with a saber or shot him with an arrow. This was the overbearing aspect of the 9 Revolutions mystic art. His physical body was unparalleled, and this was just the beginning of his cultivation. The further he progressed, the stronger Yi Chun's physical body became. He had never seen or heard of the leaders of the player factions in his previous life. They should be existences that would soon be eliminated. However, if these people can't find me in the real world, they should find trouble with me in the game. The crisis that Guojia said was probably coming. Thinking of this, Yi Chun's eyes flashed with a cold light. At this moment, a world announcement suddenly sounded. Ding! Congratulations to player Shan Wansan for becoming the 2nd King-level general. Special reward. Innate attributes +2. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.